Go.
Welcome to the K-Town Brothers podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Uncle Jude. This is my brother, Kobe Wan Shinobi. And this podcast is brought to you in part by gift baskets for inappropriate gift baskets. I'm sorry. For women, we have cucumbers, eggplants, and squash. Comes with condoms and lube. And let's not forget about those carrots for the slender pleasures. For men, there's lotion and Kleenex, Playboy magazine, and that Hustler. Can't forget about the articles in this magazine. The Hustler magazine offers a deep dive into today's issues.
Hard-hitting journalism.
Inappropriate gift baskets, ladies and gentlemen.
Got to get those Christmas gifts in.
You got to, man. Can't forget about the small pleasures in life.
Yeah, that's, man, I mean, in 2020, that's the truth. Like, oh, man.
It's been a rough one, man.
I'm not a New Year's guy, but I will be happy this New Year's, like, to get rid of 2020. Like,
yeah.
It's just bad mojo.
Yeah, it's been suspect to say the least. Like, this has been a trying year in more ways than one. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What you been up to, man? Anything new? Still dieting and all that good shit?
A little, sort of. I've gotten down to around 187.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I mean, I'm still doing low carb, but I'm not doing like the hardcore keto type thing, because I don't know, I'm sort of taking a break too, because I know Christmas is coming. Because I would like to try to get down to 180.
Damn.
I could, just to see if I can. Like, I don't know. But I feel pretty good.
That's just so far from where I'm at. Jesus. Yeah. And I'm shorter than you. I'm 241 right now, bro.
Holy crap, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I want to lose 20 pounds. That's my goal. 20 pounds. But I'm as big as I've ever been.
Oh, okay. Does it have anything to do with like medication or anything?
I don't know that medication puts weight on you. I wouldn't go there necessarily. It's not a steroid or nothing like that.
But, okay. It's just not eating
just lifestyle,
bullshit.
I think.
Yeah. It's hard, man. I got a message, a Facebook message a couple weeks ago. From a friend of mine that I used to go to high school with.
Okay.
And I've been talking to her, and you know, she's been trying to like exercise and walk and stuff, but it's easy for me because I'm in Florida.
Right.
So I was like, oh, it's cold. It's 52 degrees.
Ooh.
You know, but when it's cold for you guys, it's like 2 inches of snow and it's like 26.
Yeah, like when it snows, it's warm.
Yeah. That's the thing I remember. Like, ooh, it's snowing. That means it's not going to be 15 degrees this weekend.
Exactly. It's not going to be negative 15. Last week, it got up to 50 over here. Yeah. So we've had super mild winter so far.
Oh, okay.
It's been like that for the last like 4 or 5 years. I've only had to shovel like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Like, so it hasn't been like us getting pounded with snow. It's just been, you know, like snow come down. It snowed a couple times here, but it hasn't stuck. None of it. Not even to the ground. So,
okay.
But yeah, I know what you mean. What was she talking about? Just walking, because that's what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, you know, if it's 34 degrees outside, it's kind of hard to... Yeah. Plus, you live in the city. You know,
it's dangerous.
Yeah, she lives on the north side somewhere. So
Okay, it's less dangerous over
yeah.
there.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, but
It.
we're on the north sside.
I don't know. She lives like in Mexican north side, so I don't know much about that part of north side, like around is it Lawrence and shit like that. Because I never
Okay.
spent that much time around there. I don't think it's horrible,
Nah.
but it's not like here where I don't gotta worry. Having said that though, like I swear to God, I've been hearing people shooting like in the distance.
Really?
Yeah, like the other night I heard like clack 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 clack. I was like,
Hmm.
what the fuck was that? Like there wasn't no
I haven't heard
fireworks,
next.
and it didn't sound like backfiring. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if they shooting around here. I mean, it's not. It wasn't close. It was like pretty far.
Backfire, you get one shot.
Exactly.
It's pow.
Yep. And it was too slow to be like a pack of firecrackers or something.
Right.
It was a very steady like clack 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 clack.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's not that close, so I'm not too worried about it.
Right. I mean, that always helps when it's not as close, but it's still shooting. It's like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, pretty much.
These fucking
Um,
people.
but yeah, I'm still trying to do the diet thing, avoiding sugar as much as possible.
Okay.
More recently though, the last 3 days, 2 days, I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh boy. Let's talk about it.
Have you heard about that game?
Yes, definitely. I got sick of seeing fucking previews for this goddamn game.
Oh yeah.
They were so hyping this fucking game up. But you know how I feel about first person shooters. So it's kind of one of them things. I was like, whatever,
Yeah.
Cyberpunk. Woo!
You know
Okay.
what? It's so far, if I were to describe it, I would say take Grand Theft Auto,
Hmm.
but force you to be first person,
Okay.
and then sort of take out the, being a miscreant, random miscreant, like running over people and shit.
Right.
But you can like help people, or you can choose to not stop people who are selling organs, and
Damn.
it's just like it's crazy. It's weird, but it's pretty good. I think you might like it. Well, one thing I will say, it is fucking bug ridden right now.
Is it?
It has so many fucking bugs. I have encountered probably 20 fucking bugs. The worst bug I had yesterday, I couldn't draw any of my weapons for an hour until I figured out how to. I had to specifically go somewhere and force like a cutscene
Hmm.
so that it would re-enable my fucking weapons because they just randomly stopped working. Like I could not pull out any weapons, and my health bar and all that shit just disappeared. It was just gone.
I wonder if you were invincible.
No, I was not. You know what was weird though? I was walking around this one area for 10 minutes and these guys are like, "What was that?" And I just like walk around them and they're like, "Oh, what was that?" But
So,
eventually
like, they couldn't see you?
it's like they could, but like it wouldn't trigger the like alarm thing
Hmm.
for some weird reason. Like I don't, it was really weird. There's all kinds of goofy bugs and shit. Like
I wouldn't have figured you for a Cyberpunk 2077 kind of guy.
it's interesting. Like I like to
What's it about?
so so first of all, Cyberpunk is kind of interesting. So Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
the shit where you roll the dice, you create a character, all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The super nerdy stuff.
Right.
So Cyberpunk was invented as that kind of thing, except the guy who invented it was like, I don't want dragons and shit. I want some different shit. It's actually a black dude that invented it.
Really?
Yeah, let me look up his name. I know his name, but I can't think of it right now.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. A black guy came up with the name Cyberpunk.
Well, he didn't come up with the word, I don't think, but he came up with the cyberpunk universe tabletop thing.
Okay.
Mike Pondsmith is his name.
Interesting. Pondsmith.
He came up with it in 1988. And so basically, it's the future of the United States. Now, put your seatbelt on because this is going to sound completely just unbelievable.
Okay.
But it's the future in the United States, and everything's a shit show. And corporations like own and run everything,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just constantly shitting on people and taking advantage of them and stuff and shit like that. I know it's
Okay.
wild, but stretch your imagination for
Right. Yeah.
that.
That's a big stretch right there.
And so the biggest difference though is it has sort of this, imagine if you took the 1980s and sort of projected it into the future,
Mm-hmm.
and you can have like robot arms and robot eyeballs, and you can like take a little wire out of your head and plug it in the computer and hack stuff and shit like that.
Hmm.
So it's kind of cool, like,
Okay.
and like it's everything's grimy. The whole world is fucking grimy. And so when you start out, you get to choose three types of people. Like you can be like a street kid, which is
Okay.
somebody who grows up in like the city. It's like a big dirty ass city, future
Right.
city. Or you can be one of these nomad people who are out. It's like almost like lightweight Mad Max people out in the desert
Okay.
with all these kind of cool cars with like extra pieces of shit welded onto them, and
Right.
you know. Or you can be like one of these corporate schmucks with like a fancy suit, and you're in like these limos and stuff, and because those are people with all the money.
Right.
So you can choose your character to be one of those three, and then the story's a little bit different in places based on like your background and how you start.
Did you start with the street kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah, it's what I identify with, man.
Right. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Like it's pretty good. I like it so far. It's kind of interesting. It's not too, like, it gives you the option if you want to just hurry up and go through, you
Mm-hmm.
can, but it also has a lot of like side quests where you can steal shit. Like I have a quest now where they want me to go steal a truck full of like leather jackets,
Okay.
because it's made out of some kind of special illegal leather that they use for body implants or some shit. And so to hide it, they made a bunch of jackets out of them. So you got to go
Okay.
steal them so they can unturn them into jackets so they can get the stuff out of it or whatever. So shit like that. You can be sort of like a hitman, and occasionally you'll get a job to go kill some dude.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
I hadn't even watched, like, I tried to watch a trailer
Hmm.
once, but I forgot what was killing me about it. Like, it just seemed like too much was going on, and it was too much. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah. No, like yeah, I know what you're talking about. They sell it as like this, almost like this frenetic, just everything's happening. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like
But
super fast paced.
no, that's more the feel. That's the style of the world they want you to sort of think, but the game's not like that.
Okay.
The game is much more like some GTA shit where you run around, you get your car. It's cool because you like hit this button to summon your car and it pulls up on you like fucking Tesla. It's like auto drive, just whoop.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind
That's
of, so
cool.
anywhere you are, you just hit that button, and like it's always like from right where you can't see, like, oh, there's my car, and it just comes
Oh,
and
okay.
stops. So it's pretty well done. Like there's a shitload of people walking on the sidewalk all the time. Like,
Okay, like it's Japan or something.
yeah, and it's got like the graphics are really good.
Either.
Like the dude, like I was telling my kids, like the black people actually look like black people,
Oh, okay.
and they actually have like black people features, and their skin doesn't look like they're, I don't know, made out of fucking eggplant skin or some weird shit. You know how they make black people look when nobody on the development team has ever seen a black person apparently,
Right, right.
or they're just going off fucking pictures or some shit. Like, I don't know, but the black people in this game actually look like real human beings.
Oh, wow.
So It's pretty cool. I think you might like it if you get a chance to.
I have just recently started playing video games again because I haven't
Hmm.
played for a couple months anything.
Oh, okay.
And I picked Red Dead back up, the
Hmm.
Red Dead Redemption 2, because I
Yeah.
never beat the game technically. And I'm a huge Rockstar fan, so
Yeah.
I love most of the stuff that they put out, and I usually beat their games. But I think, aside from just my normal habit of playing and then not playing for
Hmm.
months and months and months, and then I'll play for a couple months again and then not play.
Hmm.
Aside from that, I think what turned me off from Red Dead was that I found out that the main protagonist gets tuberculosis no matter what you do.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
I hadn't heard about that. That's interesting.
yeah. Spoiler alert. And and that kind of turned me off on it because I was like, all right, well, whatever. But the game wasn't getting redundant. I was just running around earning money and like, because what I like to do in all of those games is I like to build up like my arsenal,
Hmm.
and then I'll go play the game.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I want to be like a fucking badass, so I can go in and
Right,
just like
right.
just fuck niggas
And
up.
just fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I prefer. So I was building up my little dead eye skill, but recently I've just been using cheat codes and it's been fun.
Yeah.
But you can't save it with the cheat codes.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
that's one of the things with Red Dead. You can't save it. You could play from wherever you're at with the cheat codes, but
Hmm.
then you can't save shit. So it's still kind of fun. Even though I'm not I'm probably about like halfway through the game.
Oh, okay.
So it's not even like I'm nowhere close to being finished with it. But
Hmm. I haven't
yeah,
played that one yet. I've heard a lot of really good stuff about it. I just haven't
it's
tried it.
really detail oriented. I like it. There's a lot of stuff to explore. There's a lot of stuff to do. You can spend a whole day just hunting and fishing and making money that way.
Hmm.
And you don't have to kill anybody if you don't want to. I
Yeah.
mean, me, especially when I have cheat codes on, let anybody say anything bogus to me and I fucking kill them. Like, you could antagonize people, you could greet people, you can antagonize people and then diffuse it, and
Hmm.
then antagonize them again and then diffuse it and see how far you could push people. But it's all from like whatever the 1800s or
Hmm.
1700s or whenever the fuck. So,
Old West
people
shit.
were pretty testy back then.
Yeah.
You could only antagonize a motherfucker so much for they pull a gun on your ass because it's on their
Yeah.
hip.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's
There's
still fun. You could follow people around.
oh
They
yeah.
have shit like the shit that's the coolest to me in that game is that, like, if you see somebody building a house
Hmm.
and like putting up boards and shit, you can watch them. And as you go through the game, that house progresses.
Uh-huh.
So, like, you can actually see these people build houses, and you'll come back few game days later and there'll be more work done and shit like that. So that's pretty cool. They put a lot of detail into that game,
That's
whoever
pretty
did it.
cool.
Yeah, it was decent.
The thing I can tell about Cyberpunk is that they are very much targeting that whole category of people who like those kind of games
Okay.
because it's definitely it's open world and
Okay.
you can just drive wherever you want. If there's randomly some people getting mugged on the side of the street, you can help them, or
Okay.
you know, because like a lot of the gangs, they have a bounty,
Okay.
So you can like scan these people with you got like this little robot eye or whatever,
Okay.
and you can scan them and it looks them up in the police database, and it's like, oh, this guy's got $150 bounty,
Mm.
and so he's standing with like two other dudes. So you go over there and mess those mess those guys up, and then get some money. They have this concept too called street cred, where you sort
Mm.
of build like a reputation,
Okay.
and then they've also got there's like a reputation and like a coolness factor sort of a thing, which ties into some of the stuff you do, because it's one of those things that if you're like a fucking cornball, some people ain't gonna want to mess with you,
Right.
but if you're like you know if you got a good reputation on the street and you're like kind of cool, then you
Mm-hmm.
might get different opportunities and stuff.
Now, what's the crime aspect? Can you like rob people and shit too if you want to? Or just
No,
can
not
I kill
directly.
anybody on the screen that's walking down the street?
Yeah, you can. um so here's the thing, like they have a star rating system
Okay.
for like the police to come after you,
Right.
but I haven't messed with it because when you die, like you die. You don't just come out of the hospital.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. And then you just have to start over from your checkpoint. So I haven't messed with it to see what happens, like how high it'll go.
Right.
And like can you get it to go down? Like can you outrun, like what happens? Like I don't know. I do know that like you can get into situations where like if people you sort of build up a reputation with some of these gangs, and if they see you they'll attack you on sight.
Oh
And the
wow.
police will sometimes too, even if you don't have a crime star rating or whatever.
Right.
So it's a little bit different, but it's very
Okay.
similar. It's trying to, I'll put it to you this way, they are going to be having meetings specifically about this game whenever they start talking about the next GTA.
Really?
Just to, yeah, because there's going to be expectations about the way some of the, I would not be surprised if the quests don't become more, because like the cool thing, like here's an example. Like I went into this they gave me this quest to go get like a computer or some shit with some files, right?
Okay.
So I go into this building, and it's like a chop shop where they kidnap people and kill them and take all their cyber
Harvest organs
implants,
and shit.
organs and cyber
Oh,
implants,
okay.
yeah, and then they sell them on the street. So you go in there, and I killed all the dudes, and I got the little suitcase or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm leaving out this other door, and I come across this like little squirrely dude. He's like maybe he's like I don't think he was the guy that ran it, but he was kind of like a doctor guy.
Okay.
I don't know. He was a doctor, but he was not like he was not one of the people that like cut the people up. He was a doctor that was involved in it. And he was like,
Okay.
"Oh, like don't kill me, whatever, blah blah blah." And so you can talk to him, and you can choose to either make a deal with him so you can get discounts on services or whatever, I guess.
Okay.
Or you can be like, "Nah, fuck you, dude. You're fucking crazy." And then you could try to kill him.
Do you get anything for killing him?
Well, if you kill him, the police come after you immediately for murdering somebody.
Oh.
And so I didn't feel like trying to outrun them and see
Fight
what
off the
happened.
fucking cops and all
Yeah.
that shit.
But they give you options like that when you talk to people. Like you can choose. Like I went to this one dude who was he was like this cyber implant doctor, but he specifically worked with like prostitutes and poor people and street people and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would like do all kinds of shady shit with these prostitutes for payment and just all kinds of bogus ass shit. He's a piece of shit. He's a slimy piece of shit, right?
Right.
And so I'm talking to him because I'm trying to get some information about some story plot stuff. And at the very end, like you can decide to not really be like, whatever, this dude's just doing his thing.
Right.
Or you could be like, this guy's a monster, But
Right.
at the very end, they give you an option to just punch that dude in the fucking face. So I was
Mm.
like, yes, punch, please. And I laid that
Yes.
dude out. boom.
Oh, for real?
He just fucking fell over. Yeah. I was like, damn, he punched the shit out of that dude. But they give you options like that, and
Okay.
supposedly a lot of that stuff plays out in different, some of the quests later, and people hear about what you do or don't do, and
Oh,
so it
okay.
gives you, like, usually in GTA, they're like, go kill this guy, and you kill the guy, and then it's over. Or he's like,
Yeah.
don't kill me, and I'll do whatever. And so then your option is to not kill him within 10 seconds, and then it assumes that you took his offer. It's kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
But this actually lets you make decisions when you can actually talk to
Okay.
people and decide
Now,
stuff.
that reminds me of Red Dead a little bit because with Red Dead Redemption 2, you have this like honor meter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're running around killing motherfuckers all the time, like me,
Mm-hmm.
anybody that, I'm stealing people's fish and deer and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like if you got it, I'm gonna take it, and that's just how I roll.
Uh-huh.
Highwayman style.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an honor system, and like the way that like people interact with you, like your reputation precedes you, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So people will interact with you different if you're a scumbag all the time versus,
Yeah.
if you choose to do the right thing, like, oh, can you help me do this? No.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, you get a dishonorable rating.
Yeah.
But the shit I do so dishonorable that I've never had an honorable rating in that game.
And that's one of the things I don't know, because I've been trying to be a fair. I usually always try to be a pretty good character, but it seems that this game is much more, because of the story environment. There's a lot more gray area.
Okay.
Like, everything is pretty much gray area. Like, there's hardly any black and white. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because the whole world is screwed up and corrupt and just kind of bad. So
Right.
you have to decide what shade of gray you seem to be. That's how it seems to sort of be.
Okay.
I mean, I'll know once I get to the end of the game, and it's just like, because sometimes they okie doke you, make you think there's going to be like, oh, maybe there's like 10 different endings, and there's just like two
Right.
endings, the good guy and the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. But it seems like that's what they're doing, because they've given me a lot of options to say, like, like they'll give you the option, be like, I'm gonna kill this dude, or like, I'm gonna shake this dude down, or I'm like, hey, I like this guy, like he's got the right idea. They give you some of those options sometimes.
Right.
So
Hmm.
we'll see. But I think
Okay.
you might get into it. Like, it's a little
Okay.
more story focused,
Okay.
or at least in the very beginning. But then at a
Now,
point it opens up, and you can sort of just fuck around if you want and do side quests, drive
on
around.
games like Hitman,
Mm-hmm.
and like Ghost Recon or whatever, I've
Mm-hmm.
been skipping all of the cutscenes. Like I don't even give a fuck about the storyline. Just let me play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like for Ghost Recon, it's like just let me kill people. Just
Yeah.
stop it. Like it's gonna be some stupid El Chapo like drug lord,
Yeah.
whatever, and he's doing something horrible. And he's got somebody horrible running this laboratory that's doing unspeakable things to people and shit like that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, whatever. Let me just kill people.
Yeah.
Like, but the storyline's a little bit better on Red Dead because of all of the detail that they put. They actually put like mysteries you can solve if you spend enough time searching for
Mm-hmm.
shit. And, like they have a lot of stuff that connects with other parts of the game, and everything kind of comes together if you pay attention to the storyline.
Yeah.
So
on Red Dead, I'll actually watch cutscenes. So a game's got to be pretty gripping for me to actually pay attention to the cutscenes nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But for shit like Hitman, I don't care.
Yeah.
Hello, 47. You have a new motherfucker to kill. Like, I don't care. Just let me kill people.
Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
figure it out.
it seems like this kind of half-assed anyway.
Right.
It's not so. I feel like a lot of times it's not so much. I think the reason people don't have an interest in the story is that because they can tell that it's half-assed.
Okay.
You
That
know,
makes sense.
because even if it,
Makes
if it
sense.
seemed like oh, this is a real story, like somebody actually put some effort into it, I feel like it would be at least a little bit interesting. You wouldn't,
Right.
you might not be all geeked up about it, but you wouldn't be like, yeah, fuck this shit, just skip it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let it play just for the hell of it. But when it's just like some cheap fucking, SWAT team novel bullshit,
Exactly. They
that's
can
I
keep
think
that
part of it.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
it
true, man.
so
Well,
that
that's
game is pretty good.
interesting. I mean, getting your review of it certainly means more than some, fucking person online that's
Hmm.
reviewing it.
Yeah.
So
There's a
that's
lot of
interesting.
trouble you can get into, so I think you might enjoy it.
Okay.
And there's a
Interesting.
lot of like it's kind of cool. You can choose. I took like probably 2 hours. I was just going around just hunting dudes, just like with a katana, just slicing dudes. Like, oh, I go three, sneak up on them, sloop, sloop, sloop.
Were they from some gang or something? How?
Yeah, they were. What are they called? Tiger Claws. It's like some Japanese gang.
Okay.
I was just in that neighborhood, so I was like, oh, they finna get it. I need this money, son. I need these bounties. Plus, I was collecting weapons and shit too. Plus, it was just fun.
Do you have to actually take the people somewhere? Because in Red Dead, you have to like choose to take somebody because they have this whole bounty hunting thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you could go get the guy and you could hog tie him with your rope
Mm-hmm.
and take him back to the sheriff, or you could just kill him, but you have to take him back to the sheriff to get paid, whether
Nah,
he's dead or alive.
you just kill him. I guess they could tell that dude's
Okay.
little chip, his social security number chip, just says boo. Like, oh,
Pew.
he's gone. Here's your money. Cling, cling.
Dispatched.
Yep. Dude, they they have this thing called the trauma team.
Okay.
So they have this concept in the future in this game where if you got enough money, you can pay for like this deluxe health insurance policy.
Okay.
And so if you ever like become unconscious or whatever, your implants will send like a signal to the trauma team people. And so
Okay.
these people will come in as like 4 or 5 dudes will swoop down in like this armored ambulance and they hop out that motherfucker with guns and stuff and like scoop you up wherever you're at
Damn.
and fucking save you.
Really?
Yeah, because we like in one of the first missions, you like save this person and they're unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
and then they trauma team come and they hop out that motherfucker like, yo, put the person down. I'm like, hey man, I've just been playing for 5 minutes. I don't know what's going on. I'm level 2. Don't shoot me. So it's interesting. It's an interesting world so far. And I mean, it looks really good. Like it's got all the fancy graphics and shit. Like it is
Okay.
it is the top tier game of the moment right now in terms of technology and shit
I've
like
been
that.
hearing a lot about it. I've been ignoring as much as I've been hearing. But I think Lydia's getting me Assassin's Creed, the Valhalla
Oh, okay.
for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try to get into that when I get it.
Oh, that's cool.
A little Viking action.
There's you probably don't know because you don't follow the shit that, like I do, but there's a lot of problems at that company that made that game.
Ubisoft?
Yeah.
Really? What type
Yeah.
of problem?
Sexual assault allegations.
Whoa.
This one dude who left the company, he got accused of choking the shit out of somebody at work.
Damn.
Like, yeah, like they got serious fucking allegations against them. Like,
This is in Japan?
no, these motherfuckers are French. They're like in Canada and they all
What?
speak French and shit.
What's this about?
They have a studio in Montreal. I don't know if they have US studios, but the guy who owns I don't know if they have stock. I think he owns it. But his name is Eves Yves Gimo, like
Okay.
GUI, a whole bunch of French shit. Like he's got a
Okay.
French ass name for real,
Okay.
and he speaks with a French accent when he talks and stuff. So
Right.
like yeah, I think they're Canadian. They're Canadian or French, but I feel like it's Canadian
Wow.
or French
Maybe it's
Canadian.
French Canadian, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like they
How do you say
yeah.
shut up, you French motherfucker.
Yeah. So yeah, like they got a lot of problems. I mean, aside from the fact that they
Damn.
make the same fucking game over and over.
Right.
We'll climb the towers so you could see stuff and unlock like
Right.
this
Yeah,
motherfucker
that's the
really.
only thing. It gets repetitive pretty quick. They're
It doesn't
supposed to
matter.
have some sort of new fighting system in this one.
Oh, okay.
I
That
don't
could be
know that it's
interesting.
going to be that much different, than the other
Yeah.
ones. But I don't know. I'm expecting a good, 5-6 hours of enjoyment out of it. I'm not expecting too much. It's just Assassin's Creed at this point. I'm
Yeah.
still technically playing the other ones like Black Flag and all that, but I wasn't into the boat battles and shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, destroying boats and then you pick up whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like a game's got to be engaging for me. It can't be too repetitive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I get sick of it.
Yeah, I got the same thing. So far Cyberpunk has been okay. Like
Oh, yeah, it sounds pretty
the
good.
story is interesting enough to sort of try to keep pulling me towards the end. But at the
Okay.
same time, I want to, like you said, I want to gear up my stuff because I'm having fun. Like I chose the like the brain hacker powers,
Okay.
so I can like see some dudes and I could like point at them and like make the computer in their head like blow up and shit and
Oh,
like
wow.
all kinds of stuff
Okay.
like that. So it's kind of fun. You can like turn off cameras and you know
Okay.
shit like that. So it's kind of cool.
It sounds like it might be a little more detailed than I thought. I thought it was going to be like a run gun type of, you're shooting shit up all the fucking time.
It can
Because
be
the
if you
way that
want.
they advertise it, it's like nonstop action all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, and it's kind of like,
It can be. You can
nonstop.
invest in like all the gun powers and then just, fucking Halo shit up or whatever if you
Okay.
want. But you also have the option to be sneaky or,
Okay.
be the hacker person or, unlock doors, shit like that. One thing I'll say is that they divided up a lot of the sneaky shit. So like the stealth powers are in a different, because there's like a little circle with like, or maybe it's a little pentagon with like 5 little areas or so, 5 or 6.
Okay.
And the one that has like the shit that lets you turn off the security cameras
Mm-hmm.
is a different one from the one that lets you sneak around good, which is
Okay.
different from the one that lets you unlock doors, like lock picking.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little, you have to make some more decisions. It's not just like you choose the sneaky one and then you get all the sneaky shit. Like you
I
have to
got you.
divide
You
it up
still
more.
gotta pick and choose which one you want to build up.
Yeah. So I chose the hacker stuff unless number 1 is the hacker stuff. Number 2 is probably the lock picker stuff. I haven't really put any in the stealth stuff because I haven't really
Okay.
felt like I needed to.
Right. That's interesting. I like options.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say check it out if you get the chance. I don't know if it'll ever appear on that Xbox thing. It might. The Game Pass.
Oh.
I don't know if it is already.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably.
I don't have it at the moment
Oh, okay.
because I haven't been playing video games for the last couple months. So
Yeah.
I literally just started back like last week. I played last Saturday and I played yesterday a little bit. I was gonna play this morning, but by the time I was ready to start playing, the baby was up and it was too
Oh,
late.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a little difficult with a 2-year-old running around.
I feel you, man.
She's so disrespectful to me.
Yeah.
Like she's just, oh my god. She got a little more of my personality than I wanted her to get. I'll
Oh,
tell you that
really?
much. Yeah, definitely.
That's interesting.
Definitely. She's you can't tell her shit.
Yeah.
Come on, it's time for shall we? No. And she,
Yeah.
no. No. All right.
Here we go.
Yep, that's exactly what I say. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
But anyway.
The I wanted to ask you, you probably haven't heard about it, but the um I'm looking at my tweets because sometimes I'll tweet shit because it's something
Right.
that I think about talking about.
Right.
Otherwise, fuck Twitter, honestly, at this point.
Right. Yeah, Twitter's
Um,
trash.
did you hear about Joe Biden yelling at black people?
Mm-mm.
So somebody released a tape the other day, and Joe Biden was having a meeting with a bunch of black people, like civil rights people and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they were telling him like, "Yo, like, people in our communities are like, they're kind of like anxious, kind of disappointed that you haven't done anything yet, and you haven't said, though you haven't, he's not the president yet, but you haven't said that
Right.
you're going to do anything yet about like, some of these Black Lives Matter, police, all this shit, defund the police, shit
Right.
like that."
Yeah, he hasn't spoken much on it.
Yeah. And so we want you, or they were telling him that they wanted him to, use his executive power because there's a whole bunch of stuff he can do as an executive. To like specifically the stuff they asked him for that I heard was they asked him to commit to opening like a nationwide database for police misconduct
That'd be a good one.
and for like allowing people access to like the police whenever they get reprimanded, like to be able to see their
Jacket or whatever.
yeah, like to have that publicly available. So the stuff that they were asking for specifically that I heard was not even any like big money shit. It was like, hey, let's keep an eye on these fucking cops and shit. Oh my god, he was so upset.
Really?
Yeah, and he was basically telling them like, you don't have the right to be. I mean, he didn't say this, but that's what his tone of voice was. You don't have the right to be telling me that you don't, you feel disappointed or whatever. You know who the fuck I am, and I've done so much stuff for fucking black people and blah blah blah. Like he was disrespectful
Yeah.
to the nth degree with these motherfuckers, and I'm like, see, this is what I've been trying to tell. I've had all these motherfuckers try to tell me, oh well, Joe Biden's got an agenda for black people. Yeah, he's got a fucking agenda,
Right.
and his agenda is that these niggas could shine my shoes. That's his fucking agenda. Like that's his only fucking agenda. He don't give a fuck about black folks, which is
No,
ridiculous
not at all.
because they vote like Democrat 90%, like 92% or more. Like
Wow.
black people tend to vote Democrat. And see, that's the shit that Ice Cube was talking about. We can't be voting for these motherfuckers.
That's why I didn't vote for his ass.
Like you
Proudly.
you get these motherfuckers to promise shit first. And then
Right.
you vote for them. You don't vote for them and say, okay, now that I voted for you, what are you gonna do
Right.
for me,
And
Mr. Man?
nobody was talking black agenda shit. That's what I kept saying. Like
Yep.
all this Black Lives Matter bullshit and George Floyd jerked me off some more and all of this bullshit. Ain't nobody talking about police reform.
Yeah.
Now I'm not for the defunding. That ain't Like, I understand what they're saying by defund, meaning not defund them like you take all of their money away, but you take
Hmm.
all the extra capital and you put it towards, building up black communities and whatever other bullshit communities. You basically take some of the money from them, because they ain't
Yeah.
doing shit, and
Hmm.
you retrain them. But moreover than anything, when I hear defund the police, I hear police reform. That's what it means to me, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know what it really means to all of the frontline soldiers, that are out there going to protest and
Hmm.
all of this other shit. But like, nobody was talking about that through the whole fucking election. I mean, of course, Trump wouldn't, but it was one of those
Yeah.
things like Biden wasn't talking about it. Nobody was talking about it, so I didn't give a fuck. It's
Yeah.
like y'all aren't talking to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Y'all are. It's all rich niggas, all of it.
Hmm.
It's just rich people bullshit, and to be honest, that's literally got absolutely nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So it's one of them things to where I could truly care less.
Hmm. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you've heard about the people he's been picking for his cabinet.
All these fucking Republicans.
No, well, I don't know if he's technically chosen any Republicans yet,
Oh
but
no,
they're all fucking, um,
conservative.
yeah, or at least neoliberal people who like, people who are okay with the status quo. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
People who are okay with things not really changing.
Okay.
But the one, I guess you could say the bright side is that a few of them are black and a few of them are women.
Right.
So,
Because
like,
that'll
oh, well, this
change.
this is the diversity you wanted. We chose
Right.
black um um neoconservatives or whatever,
Right.
neoliberals, and we chose women neoliberals. So, it's not gonna be an old white man oppressing you. It'll be
This
like a black guy oppressing you.
exactly. This last lady that he just appointed in the last couple of days,
Hmm.
some black bitch. Like, I read people. All I need is a picture,
Hmm.
and she just seems like a piece of shit too.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not impressed by anything Joe's doing. I wasn't, assuming that I would be impressed by anything that he was doing at all. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it feels better to get back to the same old politics other than this Donald Trump shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he was a little too volatile for me. Like,
Yeah.
you would literally wake up every day not knowing what this motherfucker was gonna do. And to be 100, like, I'm surprised Donald Trump didn't get into a war.
Yeah. Well, you did hear that after he lost the election, he wanted to bomb Iran and they talked
Yeah, I
him out
heard
of it.
about that the other day.
So I think if people had not prevented him from doing it, we would have.
Uh, so you think there was something else going on?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Like, he was more like, because here's the problem. It's okay if we go. So, you know what a proxy war is, right?
Not really. I've heard
So,
of it, but I need to look up what a
so,
proxy is and all of that.
so proxy war, think of it, proxy means like in between, like an intermediary.
Okay.
So, I'm mad at you. You're my neighbor across the street.
Okay.
We got some kind of beef, right?
Hmm.
But I'm not going to come out and openly attack you because you got a bunch of guns and I got a whole bunch of guns. But I'm not willing to get into that kind of a altercation for whatever
Okay.
reason. So I'm going to go find like a friend of your cousin and I'm going to pay this other person that I know could be easily pushed that sort of has maybe not beef, but they have opposing interests,
Right.
and I'm gonna go support that person so they can fuck up your guy. And you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I see you're doing that to get at me indirectly. All right, well, I'm gonna fund this guy. So now me and you are throwing resources at these other people. We're basically fighting a war with each other, but like in the background.
Okay.
And we both
So,
know
like
that we're
American
doing it.
politics is a
Yeah,
big
pretty much
proxy.
everything that we've done, like the 80s, a lot of the shit we did in the 80s was kind of proxy war shit with the former Soviet Union.
Okay. That makes
And
sense.
and a lot of the shit that we do now in the Middle East is proxy war shit with Iran. Because
Okay.
Iran is like I think the two biggest powers in the Middle East are Saudi Arabia and Iran. And Saudi Arabia, we're basically in bed with them, you know. So
Okay.
they're kind of our buddies regardless of what they do. Like they cut people's heads off. You know, that's not very American, but we don't fucking criticize them for it because that's
You
our
want to
fucking
know
homie.
what's funny?
Uh-huh.
This is a sidebar, but at my job, this request came in from Saudi Arabia,
Mm-hmm.
and this lady was asking whether or not we had two males in the mailroom
Mm-hmm.
who could act as witnesses for some signature. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
where my boss, who's a female, the manager is a female, and the director is a
Uh-huh.
male, if you want to call him that. Uh, um,
Use his correct pronouns, sir.
right. And and so uh that's where they drew the line with that shit. They're like, we're not doing that. Which they never say no to anything, assumably, for
Yeah.
us to do. But when it came to two males, being witnesses, and like my question, because it was just a strange request,
Yeah.
and I ended up asking her about it. I was like, what's with the two male requests? And she's like, oh, well, it's coming from Saudi Arabia and they don't let women do certain things over there, blah, blah, blah. And I was
They
like,
put women in prison for driving and shit.
but I thought they gave them licenses a couple years back.
Yeah, sorta. But before that, so the only reason they gave them licenses is because these women before that they couldn't have it. And so these
Okay.
women started protesting. They were like, fuck this shit, I'm finna drive. And they started throwing a bunch of them fucking floozies in fucking prison. And people over here and other places started hearing about it, like, yo, what the fuck are y'all doing throwing women in jail for driving?
Damn.
And so they were kind of shamed into like, all right, fine. But they still there's all kinds of shit you can't do as a woman in Saudi
Damn.
Arabia.
I know listening to like Russell Peters talk about it, and that dude Fluffy.
The comic guy?
Yeah.
Iglesias? What's his name?
Iglesias, yeah.
I can't remember his first name, but yeah.
Me either. I want to say Enrique, but I don't think that's correct. Might be Iglesias. Fucking Fluffy. I don't know. Gabriel, there you go.
Supposedly that dude's loaded, man, as a side note.
Yeah.
Like he's on some
I heard
fucking
about that.
Jay Leno shit now.
Yeah, like, whoa, that big?
I mean, he has like a building that he keeps cars in.
Damn.
Like he collects Volkswagens.
Volkswagen vans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
I
he
heard
has
about that.
what is it? The Firebird, the Burt Reynolds Smoking the Bandit car.
Oh, he bought it?
I don't know
Like
if
the actual one?
I feel like it might be. I know he did say that the car was signed by Burt Reynolds.
Okay.
And that's why he can't drive it,
Interesting.
because he wants to drive it, but since Burt Reynolds died, he's like, fuck, I can't drive this car now because it's too valuable. So I don't know if it's the one or if it's like a custom one and he just got this
And
dude
he
to
just
sign it.
signed it. Right. It's like a replica or something.
Yeah, but it's definitely it's got his signature, so that makes it legit to a certain extent.
Right. Yeah, that's dope.
But yeah, like
Interesting.
I had no clue he was that fucking
What low key, what I
profitable.
found out, the way that I found out he was loaded was like I started noticing he was selling out stadiums.
Damn.
Like, and when like the only other person that really bangs stadiums like that is like Larry the Cable Guy. There's a lot of low key
Comics that like you wouldn't think have that much money
Mm-hmm.
when they're doing stadium tours and shit
Yeah.
like that, versus just the theater tours, like that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So once I had found out he was selling out stadiums, I had kind of looked into his finances a little bit, so to speak, whatever you can look up online,
Yeah.
and yeah, but I didn't think he was anywhere close to Jay Leno though, or like Seinfeld or anything like
Well, I don't know how rich he is, but he's gotten into that fucking hobby apparently.
that. Interesting.
So I don't know. That seems like a big kind of a deal when you live in California and you're like, I'm gonna rent a building to keep my cars in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think Rogan's like that too. He's got is it 15 or 55? I don't remember.
What vehicles?
Vehicles, yeah. I want to
Jesus.
say it's like 55 or something like that. But it might be 15.
That seems like a lot for him. He seems like he's a lot more of like, I just like to hunt and fish and do bro shit.
that.
So,
Right.
you
Lift
know,
weights.
so 15
Do some
seems like
push-ups. Let me do some chin-ups.
What's your favorite hobby? Push-ups.
Push-ups. Spinning heel kicks. It's fucking good.
I was practicing my roundhouse yesterday, bro.
Fucking Bill Burr's got his goddamn helicopter license.
No.
Yeah, he's a fucking pilot.
That shit is funny.
Like he's battling whether or not he should own a helicopter, but he feels like he's not rich enough to own a helicopter.
Dude, a friend of mine, he's really big into airplanes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he was thinking about getting a pilot's license, to fly like little Cessnas and shit, right?
Okay.
And so he was explaining it to me. And
You said your friend's pretty rich?
no, he works like the same kind of shit I do.
Oh, okay.
He makes a little bit more than me.
Okay.
Because he's working at a better place. Well,
Right.
he gets paid more.
Right.
But we worked at the same
all
place
subjective.
before. Yeah.
Okay.
So he was, breaking it down to me because I was like, what do like, what's that entail? What's the deal with that?
Mhm.
So it's not super expensive to get your license per
Okay.
se. What is expensive is that fuel for these things is pricey. And then you have to pay extra because like there's a lot of inspections that need to happen like every 20 hours. You have to inspect the airplane or whatever to make sure that it's not going to fall out the sky.
Every 20 hours.
Some shit like that. I don't remember the exact number.
That's crazy.
He did tell me though that I don't remember the amount of time exactly because it was based on flight hours, but the way that he explained it to me, it seems like pretty much every year for a lot of these airplanes, the entire engine has to be torn down and rebuilt.
I heard that recently.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was from a Bill Burr podcast or not, but I've heard that recently that their engines basically get reconstructed every fucking year.
And they don't have to technically, but it's like on a safety thing. Because you don't want your engine to go out and you're 10,000 feet above the ground.
Fuck no.
And so that's where it gets to be expensive. The other thing too, so that's the first half of it. So the first half is just because of the way airplanes work in our society, all the rules and shit. It takes a lot of money for other shit besides just getting in there and flying the airplane.
Right.
Then
Yeah, it ain't like a fucking car.
Yeah. And then the second thing you got to think about is that unless you are fucking crazy, you don't want to kill yourself in an airplane, which means you don't want to get rusty, which means you have to force yourself to fly every however often you can fucking afford it, because then you're having to pay for all of this shit. And he was telling me that there's a lot of guys who, like, these people who die in these plane wrecks, the little bitty planes.
Yeah.
A lot of times, oftentimes, they die because they make stupid mistakes because they're not flying the plane every day. Maybe they fly it a couple hours every month, and then they
Right.
go up, and then they fuck up, and then they die.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of them things that you don't really get a second chance with. You
Yeah,
can't really fuck up flying. That's
yeah,
why, like, I'm not afraid to fly. I mean, well, here, let's talk about it. Because I'm not afraid to fly, but my anxiety is through the fucking roof to the point to where I get teary when I land.
mm-hmm. The relief.
Yeah, like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, and I honestly get teary eyed like every single time that I'm on a plane and it lands now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, fuck. All right. The dude didn't fuck up,
Yeah,
because all I say now is I hope these motherfuckers can fly. Because fuck the bullshit. Like, I don't care what race. This is like one of the only times I'm not racist. Like, I don't give a fuck what race you are. I just want to know what your skill level is. Can you fly? And if you can't fly your ass off, then I don't want to be on your motherfucking plane.
yeah,
Like, so I could see that practice shit. Like, I'm gonna need my pilot to be Michael Jordan every fucking day. Because you
yeah,
got 300 people, or what do they say, 300 souls
yeah,
on the plane, or whatever the fuck they say. Like, that's one of them. That's you can't make mistakes like that.
yeah. That's true.
And that's one of them things. I know planes, once they get in the air, they fly themselves for the most part or whatever. But like, that's in the air. You got to get up and you got to get back down. Getting down is the fucking, that's what I feel like. I know enough about airplanes that if it was the end of the world and if I needed to fly an airplane, I could get it in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I could land that motherfucker,
Yeah,
but I kind of feel like I know the concept of it,
mm-hmm.
but I would be scared as fuck,
Yeah,
to land, but I feel like I could take off. We'll
yeah.
get
It's
in this
it's a lot
bitch.
easier to
Like,
take off than
right.
land.
Yeah, I would assume.
Well, you got to remember, like, sort of along the lines of what I was talking about, like the guy. See, so that's one of the other things I was gonna say. Most of the people who own these little airplanes and fly them
Mm-hmm.
are airline pilots,
Oh,
because
okay.
they spend their, because that's the thing we ended up talking about, was like, well, damn, basically you need to be a pilot to safely have that as a hobby and not have like a crazy risk of killing yourself,
Mm,
because these
okay.
guys fly pretty much all the time,
Right.
and so they're always in that mindset. And then on the weekend or maybe once a month they get in their little plane, but they're still flying. So they still got a bunch of hours. They're still in practice. They're, every day they're reinforcing all of those habits and stuff.
Right.
So you're much more likely to be safe if you're on like a big ass plane. Because the other thing too, you know, it's usually not a bunch of poor people on an airplane. There's a
Fuck no.
handful, but
Right.
it's mostly white people with money.
Yeah.
The last thing they want to do is get sued by
Right.
300 families of some white
Right.
people with money that they killed.
Exactly.
So it's relatively safe. I mean, it's not 100% safe, but
But I think I agree that it's safer than driving.
yeah.
Like, because there's so many more car accidents, but there's also so many more cars than
Hmm.
there are airplanes. So it's kind of
Yeah.
one of those, you play the statistics on it. you roll the dice, there's going to be more car accidents because there's more cars.
Yeah, that's true.
So I kind of feel like maybe that makes the argument null and void for airplanes being safer than cars, but
I don't
there's
think
certainly less fucking plane crashes.
Yeah, I think even if you account for that statistically, it's still safer.
Okay.
I mean, you got to think the other thing is they'll let any fucking hobo with 2 eyeballs. Sometimes you only got to have 1 eye.
Except me.
to get a fucking driver's license. So, but they, you have to go through a lot more to get a pilot's license. You have to have so many hours and you got to renew it. They take it much more seriously.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You got a pilot buddy, huh?
No, he didn't do it because he was like, it's not worth it. It's not worth the money. He was thinking about doing it, but he decided it's not worth the money. And then he didn't want to do it because he's like, I don't want to kill myself in an airplane. Like, I want to fly, but not that fucking bad.
I want to fly a helicopter. And I don't even need to like fly enough to get a license. I just want to fly enough to like take off and land, and then I can kind of mark it off my little list.
Oh, you can do that.
Like that's what I want to do with a helicopter. Like I don't need to own one or nothing. I just want to. I've always been kind of fascinated by the hovering thing. Like that's pretty dope.
Helicopters are really complicated.
I hear it's a lot of fucking math, and that's been a huge turn off for me.
I don't know if there's math. So the people that made it, there's a lot of math.
Right.
But I don't know that you need that to fly it. The thing, have you ever even flown a helicopter in a video game?
Yeah, of course. And some video games way harder than others.
Okay, so
because with the lift and the drag and all of that shit, like.
So the way it works with a helicopter is you have the 2 foot pedals.
Right.
And the foot pedals control the speed of the rotor on the back.
Okay.
Because that's what makes you turn left and right. Because you got to think about it. You have the helicopter just sitting there. Mm-hmm. And you have the rotor spinning. So that means the helicopter wants to spin in the opposite direction.
Okay.
So that's why it has the rotor on the back pushing back. Like, hey, don't stop spinning. Stop spinning.
Oh, okay.
And so whether or not you speed up that back rotor to go against the force that's already pushing you, or you slow it down so that force will let you rotate.
Right.
That's what controls the direction that it's pointed.
Interesting.
And then you have the rotor that's on the stick that goes up, the main rotor.
Right.
And you can control the angle of the blades.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, and you can also control the speed that it spins. And that's what makes you go up and down. And if you want to go forward, then the stick that the rotor's on, basically, it leans in different directions.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why it's sort of weird and complicated to fly a helicopter, because it's just fucking weird.
Right.
Like I read a thing where this one, I don't know, it was a pilot or an engineer or something, but they basically said that flying a helicopter was like trying to pilot a machine that's trying to tear itself apart at the same time while you're trying to fly it. There's just so much shit going on. It's like, I can't believe this is working.
Well, I mean, that kind of.
But yeah, it does. That's one of the reasons why it's just like you don't see a lot of like crazy stunts in helicopters.
Right.
Because it's just a weird thing. Like I don't know. So for a long time, there was a debate on whether or not helicopters can fly upside down. And I'm not completely sure if they can. I know that remote controlled ones can.
Okay.
But I don't know that regular helicopters can. I have never seen footage of it. And I don't think people have tried it because it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that seems like sure death.
Pretty much. But
trying to figure out how to flip a fucking helicopter over. Then you got to figure out how to flip that bitch back over so you can land.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a couple tricks in one.
And
You got to pull
helicopters don't
off
usually go that high, so
right,
you can't. You only got so much space to fall before you hit the ground.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
Damn.
helicopters are really interesting though. Dude, there was
Yeah.
I saw this, so it was a commercial, so it was probably some bullshit to it. But it was like some black helicopter type shit. It was like they have this entire genre of commercials for like military shit that you never, I don't know where the fuck they show these commercials.
I be wondering that shit when I see them randomly. Like, who
Yeah.
do they show this shit to? Like, what sales meeting, that gets shown to like government officials? Like, who the fuck buys helicopters in bulk? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
It's governments
Similar to
and
like
cities.
Gulfstream commercials. Like,
Yeah. Honestly, it's probably at the little conventions.
probably.
That's probably where they show them. But this commercial was like, it's like an old country looking house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a dog that's asleep on the porch, right? And you hear like, the birds and shit singing and everything.
Right.
And the dog is like asleep. And so then it's like looking sideways through like along the front porch, you know? So it's like you're standing on the side of the house looking through like the front porch area.
Okay.
So you see the dog is laying there. And in the background, beside the house, you see this helicopter appear. And it just hovers there and you don't hear a fucking sound. You don't hear the chop, 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 chop. There's no
Right.
fucking big ass winds and stuff. This motherfucker just shows up like Casper the Ghost. And then it just goes back over to the side. And I was like, holy shit, is that fucking real?
Right.
Like, is that like the fucking
Or did they just
Team
cut the
Teal
sound
6?
off of it?
Well, that's the thing. Because a lot of that stuff is classified. But
Damn.
supposedly they have helicopters that are pretty much silent. Like they figured out how to make the blade
Really?
out of certain shit.
Because them motherfuckers are loud. You hear them from blocks away.
Yeah.
The ghetto bird helicopters.
No, supposedly like the top end ones. I mean, they're probably not silent, but they're very quiet. I've seen some people on the internet who say that they're like in the military and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that like, yeah, they have some of the military ones, they have special blades and shit that they're classified. Like you can't, I think it might be mostly the blades.
Okay.
And they have these special blades for like some of these military choppers for whenever they're doing covert shit. That they say like
shit
it's
like
super
that
quiet.
is so cool, but it's so eerie.
Yeah. Like the guy that I remember thing I read, I remember reading the thing that the guy wrote. And he said that with the stuff that they have now, that just anybody in the military, if you're a helicopter guy, you'll know about it. They have blades they can put on their helicopters that you would not hear them above you. Like 2,000 feet, 1,000 feet. Now,
That's insane.
if
I
you
don't
get
believe
100,
that. That's one of them. I mean, I believe it, but it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But what it does make me think of is the last Air and Water show that I went to.
Mm-hmm.
Logan was like 2 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he was asleep in this little tent thing. And we were across from the Chicago River somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we were probably like 50, 60, probably yards from the bank, from the shoreline or whatever.
Yeah.
And I look up and there's this fucking plane. Not a stealth bomber, but some slick looking stealth plane that they were showing off. And I didn't hear it. I just saw it. And then it flew past, and I shit you not, like 30 seconds later.
Yeah.
And it woke Logan up, and he was all, type of thing. But it was above me, literally.
Yeah.
And I was staring at it, and it was silent. I didn't hear it, so I would have been dead. I mean, I would have been dead a couple miles away, I'm sure.
Yeah.
they would have threw a bomb or whatever the case, shot a bomb. And but that was again cool as hell, but eerie as fuck. Like it
is,
was
yeah.
like, Jesus Christ, they really can sneak up on you.
Yep.
Like
There's
this dude's in a whole ass fucking airplane above me, and I didn't fucking hear him until he was gone for 30 seconds. And there was a huge delay. There
well,
was a huge sound delay. It wasn't like 2 or 3 seconds. It was, maybe 30 seconds is a lot, but it was 10, 15 seconds later. It was long gone by the time I heard it.
well, so part of that's what happens when you travel faster than the speed of sound, which is like 700
Okay.
something miles an hour, give or take.
Okay.
Something like that. Less than 800 miles an hour. Well, it depends on sea level, the air pressure, thickness of the air type stuff. But yeah, like that's what happens. You're literally in front of the sound that you're making because you're going so fast.
That's crazy.
It is. It's nuts, man. It's weird. That's the shit that Chuck Yeager was famous for, which he died recently.
Oh, did he?
You didn't hear about that?
No, I
He
don't
was
think I
90
did.
something. Yeah, he's at least credited as the first person to travel faster than the speed of sound.
Okay.
In like this rocket. It was literally like a fucking a rocket with two little stubby wings on it and a fucking chair.
Oh, wow.
Like back in the 50s.
That's how he got famous.
Well, yeah, I mean that's probably really why he got famous. He was already a test pilot, but
Okay.
he was in the record books for that at least.
Speaking of dead motherfuckers, you hear about Debo?
Yeah, man. Was it Sonny Lister?
Yeah.
Yep.
Tiny Zeus Lister.
Yep. Yeah, he was
God damn.
62, I think.
62, man.
He wasn't
That
that
fucking
old.
number keeps coming back up, man.
Yeah.
61, 62. Every time, ever since dad died, every fucking time somebody dies and they're 61, I'm like, fuck, which genes do I have?
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
Yep.
no, you
Yeah, I
better.
think that's my goal, man. I gotta live to be at least 65.
Right.
Hopefully a lot more than that, but
Right, yeah.
that's what I'm shooting for.
I
At
feel
least.
you. I'm telling you, I'm pretty serious about needing to drop some weight because I don't want to reach 250. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's not good, man.
Nah, it's not. And it feels, like I gotta hold my breath to tie my shoes.
Oh shit, really?
Like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you bend over and your stomach presses up or against your whatever breathing apparatus or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just hard to, even if you try to breathe through your nose, it's just difficult. So I've reached a point to where I definitely need to lose some fucking weight.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm not trying to end up like Mojica either, which it was his birthday on the 9th a couple days ago.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember quite how much he weighed, but I think he was in the 300s. I remember whenever he was 285, and I remember us having a conversation, but I think he got way bigger. I think he had gotten up to like 325 or something like that.
Damn.
Like, yeah. And I know Bose, he's been over 250 for years. I think he's about 260, 270, and we're the same height.
Damn.
Like, but he looks like a little ball.
Like,
so it's kind of one of those, like, I had went to my mother-in-law's house maybe 2 weeks ago to do something with the PlayStation 4. I had to be reloaded or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was wearing, like, all of my clothes don't fit and shit like that. And I was wearing some older clothes, and she's got this like floor to ceiling type mirror thing or whatever. in her house, and I was sitting on the chair, and I look over in the mirror, and I literally went, ew.
Damn.
I was like, ooh, I'm fat as hell. I didn't know I looked that fat like at all until then. And that kind of really did something to me because I've been thinking about it ever since. And
Yeah.
running's not my thing. I hate it. I've stopped doing the treadmill thing. I did it for a month and had no I was getting my wind up. That's all that was,
Mm-hmm.
happening, but I wasn't losing any fucking weight. And I dreaded it every day. But I don't know if that's the drugs, like
Yeah.
or my disease, the bipolar shit or whatever. I don't know if that's keeping me from it, but what I do feel like I have full control over is what I eat.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can control that portions, starting with that, and trying to lower the portions and shit like that, and see if I could lose a few pounds naturally.
Yeah.
Um, I already I'm drinking water during the week. I had told you, I think I told you that I was pushing my drinking back to every other weekend now
Mm-hmm.
because
That's
I had
good.
went to the weekends, and
Mm-hmm.
then but I felt like I was still gaining weight.
Probably.
So I pushed it back to every other weekend, and um but some weekends go by and I'm like, I didn't really get drunk this weekend anyway. What's the fucking point of drinking? Because
Mm-hmm.
part of me is like, if I can't take it to the limit, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Like, and that makes me not want to do it, to be honest with you, because I can't go full throttle anymore. I'm getting older, man.
Yeah, it happens slowly but surely.
It's definitely different nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I've started playing pool again.
Oh,
Uh,
that's good.
I got my father-in-law coming over on Saturdays now. We've done it 2 or 3 weekends in a row. I want to say 3 because of Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
But pretty much since Thanksgiving, we've been going every Saturday. And he won the series yesterday, 5-4. Fucker.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and it was fucked up because I was slaying him the first 3 games.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, I don't know, I just fell off. And then but he
Yeah.
won. But that motherfucker could play though too. So
Yeah.
he's rusty as hell, but when he's on point, he's on point.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's one of those. Plus, he's in his 70s, but
Yeah.
he can fucking play.
You're going to a pool hall?
No, I got a pool table in my basement.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, nah. My pool hall days have been over for a long time. No, that's the one. That's the one big kind of toy that I have. Probably one of my more expensive toys that I actually own is a
Mm-hmm.
pool table. So it's one of those. I need to use it way more just because of how much it costs, but it's one of them things
Yeah.
but it's full size though.
Oh, cool.
When's the last time you've been here? The
Uh,
the whenever y'all were running from the hurricane?
yeah. That was the last time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe I didn't give you the tour.
Um, I don't know. I think you were in the middle of doing some construction stuff.
Okay.
There you
Okay.
had there was some stuff. You were working on that room that you got or something. You were cleaning it out or something, converting it or some shit.
For the weed shit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the basement might have been messy because there's been several years that went by to where it was just inappropriate to show anybody.
Yeah.
But I got it up and it's displayable now or whatever. But yeah,
I got the pool table. It's nice. It's really nice to have. I enjoy playing when I can enjoy shit. But sometimes
Hmm.
I don't enjoy things that I normally enjoy.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
can't
gotcha.
even start doing them. But
I feel you.
yeah.
I was gonna say on the walking.
Mm-hmm.
I've read a lot of stuff recently where they've been saying that walking might be better. It is better in some ways than running
mm-hmm.
because A, it's not as difficult, so you're more likely to do it.
Okay.
B, it doesn't hurt your joints and shit.
Right.
And C, like it's still you're still getting out there and getting exercise, and just even a minimal amount of exercise and movement helps your body to, I mean, it's not like going all out. Some
Yeah, you're not doing all Joe Rogan. Let's do some
yeah,
push-ups, bro.
yeah, but as like a minimal thing.
So get some kettlebells in, man.
Yeah. So you might want to, instead of running, just get on the treadmill and walk for
Okay.
20 minutes or whatever, at
Yeah, I
least.
definitely have to up the time. I want to get another one of them. I want to see how many steps I take at work. So I want to get another one of them watches. I had charged one of my old ones and I put it on, but it kept resetting itself during the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get a good understanding of how many steps I take at work. But the last time that I worked in a mail room, I would average on before it got crazy. I averaged 17,000 steps a day, and then it got to a point to where which 10,000 I think is 5 miles,
Maybe.
and um it had gotten at one point I was regularly like maybe 3-4 times a week doing like 30,000 steps in a day. There was
Oh,
a
wow.
lot of walking. That's when we were
Mm-hmm.
walking back and forth to the new building
Mm-hmm.
because they were under construction or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would like to see how much. And that's another one of the things that I suspect Lydia probably got me for Christmas is a little activity watch. But
You can do that with your phone a lot of times.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. What kind of phone do you have?
Pixel 3.
Oh yeah, it's got like a accelerometer or whatever built into the phone. It might not be as accurate as at least if you have your phone with you all day.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah,
I do
like
set it down a lot at work,
there should be an
more than I should.
option that you can turn on like a step counter thing,
Oh, okay.
and then it'll keep track of it.
Interesting.
So I would look into that at least in the time being.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll look into it, see if it's got anything. But yeah, I definitely need to find some different form of exercise. I wish I had some weights.
Uh-huh.
Um
They're hard to get now because of the COVID situation.
Weights?
Because everybody's at home, so people started ordering dumbbells and shit.
Uh
So you can't.
mm,
It's hard to fucking get now.
that's interesting. The
Yeah,
things that came into a shortage and shit during this.
yeah, kettlebells too, actually. Because I was thinking about buying one, but I couldn't find one.
Yeah.
At least
I
for the
know
size I
Rogan's
wanted.
always talking about his kettlebells always sold out.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yep.
Walking though, huh?
Yeah. You should. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Like, I'll occasionally try to run some, but every time I do it, I'm all sore and fucked up.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm about that life. I'm just,
I like being sore. That's the one thing that doesn't make sense about my life is I liked being sore from exercising, but I refuse to exercise
as,
because I feel like I sleep better when I'm sore.
uh huh.
and I can actually appreciate the relaxing aspect of it as opposed to when I'm not exercising.
Yeah. This could all be in my head, but to me, and this is my opinion. Before, when I was younger and I would get sore,
Mm-hmm.
it would be like, oh, I'm putting money into the bank. Like I'm building up whatever, I'm building up
Right,
my feet or whatever so they'll be stronger, my legs, right?
right,
But more recently, in the last few years, when I get sore, it's like, oh, I see you decided to use 72 units of what's left of your legs. Okay, that's fine. It's yours to spend, sir. I'll be marking that off of your like it just feels different. I'm like, damn. Like it's not the same. Like I don't
You
feel
gotta pay for that shit.
yeah, I feel like I'm in some ways I'm over the hill.
right.
And so at some point I've read some articles that sort of talk about it. And after you reach a certain age, around 40 or so,
Mm-hmm.
you really do like your body is less able to rebuild shit. So you need to be conscious of pushing yourself hard because you are much more likely and probable to break something that is not going to heal back, quote unquote, good as new.
Right,
So most of the time you can still do a lot of exercise, but you need to avoid like high impact, like crazy. You need to focus a little bit more on like endurance and slow strength building and shit like that. You can't do this, oh, this is fucking crazy
right.
Hulkamaniac shit.
Do you talk to any young people other than your children?
Um, I did whenever I was at work for a while.
Okay. Like 25-year-olds or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Cuz I I guess most recently I had there's this chick that I work with who's like 24, 25,
Mm-hmm.
and like she's hell bent on holding a grudge against her father,
Mm-hmm.
and so was I for so long,
Yeah.
and I've been trying to tell her like there's some healing in letting shit go. But like she's still young enough to where holding grudges makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was trying to tell her like whenever you get older, you just don't have energy for that shit anymore, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Like so you have to start letting certain shit go. Now there's some people that'll spend that energy, just like you were
Yeah.
saying, like, so many credits, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like spent, but
Yeah.
it is, something to think about when you get older. So I was just asking if you still, because she makes me feel old,
Mm-hmm.
like just because she thinks so young.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you'll get over that. Most of the shit that she says, I end up, whether I say it out loud or not, because I will sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
but like whether I say it out loud or not, I'm like, you'll get over that. That'll
It
pass.
this it's true. And I've had a bunch of discussions with people, especially since I'm single now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I do not think it is very likely that I would even be able to date a woman that's like 25 years old, 24,
Yeah, no,
21, no fucking way. 23, no way. Like,
no,
not only is it weird because I have a 20-year-old daughter, that's part
right.
of it, but just like it's a completely different mindset. I was telling somebody, like, I am a completely different person now
Yeah,
than I was when I was like 21. A completely different person. Like,
yeah.
you know, like a lot of times you hear people talk about it in the context of like when people go to prison and
I was about to say that.
like, oh, are they different? Like everybody is different for, well, I mean, so the context we were talking about in was like there's a lot of people who like don't really change. Like from
Okay.
high school, it seems, you know?
Yeah.
Like the same shit they were geeked up about in high school, you still see them talking about that shit on Facebook and they're like
Yep.
35, 40 years old.
Right.
They still want to go out to the club and act a fool or whatever, which if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But like you haven't gotten past that. Like,
Right.
you know, like
You haven't grown
whatever.
at all. And I feel like I go through that shit when I talk to Bose,
Uh-huh.
which is realistically probably why I don't talk to him that much, because I feel like he's one of those people that constantly reach back to high school.
Yeah.
And, even though, reminiscing is fun with him, because you get to bring up old stories about how crazy I was and
Yeah.
all this shit. But at the same time, like, I got other shit to talk about now.
Yeah.
Like, all of that high school shit is dead to me. Like, I'm so far out of high school. Plus, I hated high school. Like,
Yeah.
it was a tool to me. I knew that I had to go. And I knew that I had to get my diploma. That was the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me, it was a tool to get my license. Because that's all I wanted to go to high school for, is to get my license. Because I knew that
Yeah.
was bad to get my license.
I think there's a lot of people.
And, but outside of that, like, high school ain't shit for me to think about. Like, I'll think back to like the girlfriends I had or something a long time ago, and I'll be like, oh, I remember how it felt to feel young,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what a lot of that, because just like we were talking before the podcast, like, I remember being 18 and like all I wanted to do was fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's literally all I wanted to do. Like, and now that I'm older, it's just not important to me
Yeah.
anymore. Like, not the way that it was, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and is I don't know, getting old is weird, man. Like I'm not against it. I still feel like I'm accepting of it,
Uh-huh.
you know. But I also feel like I'm starting to get to a point to where, like, just going back to the fatness thing, like, I'm getting to a point to where, like, okay, I need to lose some weight,
Yeah.
meaning I need to be more active, because I live such a, is it sedentary lifestyle? Is that how you say it?
Sedentary.
Who?
Said in Terry.
Sedentary.
Uh-huh.
I live such a sedentary lifestyle that like, like, Obama's wife's always screaming about, get up and move.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like I need to, which is why I started with the jogging shit,
Uh-huh.
but it was a chore. I hate it. I hate doing shit that I hate, and I already have a job.
Yeah.
So I'm already doing that shit for 8 hours a day, something that I don't want to fucking do. So to get off of work and then come home and do some other shit that I don't want to do, you know what I mean? I feel like it's easier for me to eat less.
Yeah. Well, you probably need to do both. But
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the good thing, if you start counting your steps,
Mm-hmm.
like that shit counts when you go to
Okay.
work. Because it's
Right.
really like what she says. It's really about, it's like use it or lose it, literally, you know?
Yeah.
That's one of the problems with old people when they get, that's why it's so bad when you break your hip when you're old,
Mm.
because you're already old and you need to still move around and, you know, be active to keep everything, because you're old, like your body does not rebuild as well as it used to,
Right.
which means if you break your hip and then you have like a 6 month period that you can't move around that much and your muscles start to atrophy, it's not going to be as
Mm.
easy for them to build back up. And so it's like you slip down into a hole
Damn, I
that
never
you,
thought about that.
yeah. That's why it's so bad. Like people get scared when they hear some old person broke their hip because
Yeah,
it
like
could.
they fall and break some shit. Whether it ain't even got to be as bad as a hip, but
Mhm.
even when they break their arm, it would take a young person 4 to 6 months to heal, and it takes a old person 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even think about the damage that the rest of your body sustains while you're healing from
Mhm.
that injury because you're not using it.
Yeah. And
I
that,
didn't even think about that.
and you've already maybe got diabetes or some blood sugar
Right.
imbalance or blood
I'd like
pressure.
to avoid diabetes too.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So I'm very conscious now of the amount of sugar, and I'm going to try to do this going forward as a lifestyle change. I'm going to treat sugar the same way I treat alcohol for me.
Okay.
And that is like I ingest it for the most part in a very conscious way.
Okay.
I'm not just going to just randomly eat candy and shit. It's going to be like a special occasion. I mean,
Right, but it's more of a delicacy, and
yeah.
it's something that you take in while you're consuming it, and
Hmm.
you're looking for that effect.
Yeah.
Like you could get to a point with sugar, I imagine, to where you can, look for the sugar rush, or
Hmm.
because you don't have it very often, you could feel the difference. Similar to people that don't drink coffee and then they get some
Yeah.
caffeine in them and they don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and
That's
I've heard a lot of
interesting.
people say that that's how sugar should be treated realistically.
I believe that. Totally.
Especially like it's different when you eat fruit, because when you eat fruit, it sort of cuts the sugar with the fiber and all the other shit that's in the fruit.
Okay.
So it doesn't hit you the same way as like drinking Kool-Aid does, which is just
Yeah.
liquid with sugar dissolved in it.
So what I have been doing is drinking a lot of sparkling water.
Oh, okay.
So we've bought like cases of the LaCroix,
Uh-huh.
and that's what I drink during the week instead of liquor. Because before, when I was drinking, I was just drinking beer every day. I would get off work, and then all that I would consume when I got home was just beer or wine.
Yeah.
Like now, I've waved bye bye to the hard shit a long time ago because that causes problems.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten into a lot of trouble because of the hard shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and again, but moreover than the trouble that I've gotten into with it, because that's all my fault.
Yeah.
Like, but moreover than that, I'm older, so I don't respond the same anymore to it.
Yeah.
In the mornings and shit like that, you get draggy, and you're like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and to be honest, I feel enough
Yeah.
regularly during the fucking week because of whatever mental problems I have, or mental health
Yeah.
issues that I have. Like, so that's hard enough to deal with. So I don't need any extra shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I still enjoy it. So every other weekend's working for me. Partake a
Well,
little
that's
bit.
good. I mean, that's what you got to do. You have to, um, just think about your own situation
Yeah.
and, just adjust accordingly
Yeah.
for what fits for you.
Totally.
I had a different kind of completely different subject. I just remembered a thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
See, have you heard about that guy from Wu Tang, You God, and how he
Oh.
said that him and his mom got robbed by Mike Tyson?
Yeah. He took her chain, and Mike Tyson he was like, I'll pay you for it. Come back and I'll give you the money for it.
Yeah. I was like, damn, this is some weird random shit in that interview. I had never heard that this dude was like, I got robbed by Mike Tyson when I was a kid, when I was a shorty.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, my only question is, how the fuck did you know it was him? I mean,
Well,
other than his voice.
so all of these because he was talking to Zab Judah, that boxer.
Yeah.
And did you watch the interview?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw a clip of it.
Okay. And Vlad,
Yeah.
Officer Vlad.
Yeah. I've been hearing they blaming him for Casanova.
Yeah. But so yeah, all of those dudes, I guess they're all from Brownsville in New York,
Yeah.
wherever the hell Brownsville is at.
Right. Yeah. I think it's like in the Bronx.
Okay. And so from what I gather, you know how it is in the hood. We didn't have this as much because we lived in a weird area, but everybody knows everybody in the neighborhood.
Right.
And so they knew Mike was going around sticking people up back then. So they knew who he was. Like, and honestly, he's Mike Tyson. What are you gonna do? Like, this dude told his drug dealers to fuck off, and they were like, okay.
Did you hear about that interview? I'm trying to think of who it was. It was either Boosie Badass or no, it was TK Kirkland, the comedian.
Yeah.
And he was on Mike Tyson's Hot Boxing. And Mike had a moment with him to where like they were talking about themselves and Mike was talking about how much he hated himself and how much of a piece of shit he was. And TK was like, nah, you don't believe that. Nah, that's not true. Blah, blah, blah. And Mike like kind of like snapped. And he was like, who the fuck are you, nigga, to tell me how I feel about myself? And it was just one of them moments that was like, damn, Mike Tyson getting in my face a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what I don't even know if you could call him a bitch for backing down type of thing. Cause it's kind of, I mean, if somebody can beat your ass, checks you, you kind of just gotta let that shit go.
Yeah.
But
I see this garbage truck coming down the street. Should I try to do some Iron Man? I'm gonna stop it with my hand. Like, no.
Right. The fuck out of here. Like, and like that was funny to me, but it was one of them real moments. He was like, who the fuck is you, nigga, telling me, what the fuck I feel? I'm like, damn.
What did TK Kirkland say when he said that?
He apologized.
Oh,
he said, you right. I never walked in your shoes. You right.
Damn.
But it's one of them things. It's kind of like, God damn, when Mike Tyson checks you, what the fuck do you do? I guess you just be that bitch. You don't got to feel like a bitch. You actually be one, and it's okay because it's Mike Tyson. I mean, ain't no he was testing you. It's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, because I remember watching some of his older interviews to what, like back in the day, whenever he was like, nigga, I'll eat your kids, shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, and what the fuck did he tell that one dude that I thought was hilarious? He was like, I'll fuck you until you love me.
Mike Tyson used to say stupid ass shit.
God damn. And this is Mike Tyson saying that shit. Like, I don't even think you gay, but damn.
Man.
I kind of believe you. I'll fuck you till you love me, motherfucker.
I mean, to an extent, that's his fault for. Why would you argue with this dude? I mean, why would you say that? You can ask the question, like, you don't really believe that, do you?
Right.
But why are you trying to tell this dude what he does or don't believe?
Right.
Like, I don't know. But, TK Kirkland does not strike me as, I don't know.
He's not a real thoughtful individual,
No.
I don't think. think he's more on that player shit.
Yeah, trying to be
Really?
smooth all the fucking
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And the best thing I could draw from TK is like he's got like a little bit of father figure in him
Uh-huh.
because he preaches about what men should do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot. And it's kind of like, I mean, I wish I had a father that taught me more man shit. You know what I mean? Like what a man is supposed to be like and what they're supposed to do. It might have made some of my life a little bit easier if I
Yeah.
would have had somebody who was steady telling me like, nah, men don't do that shit. Men don't do this. Men don't do that. Blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
But we didn't have a good example of that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Other
true.
than like working, you know,
Yeah.
I might have got some of my work ethic from Cicero.
Mhm.
Like, but part of me feels like I got most of my work ethic from hanging around Ma's people in Mississippi,
Uh-huh.
you know, because they were hard working. So it was one of those. I don't know. I've always credited Uncle Jerry, Dale, and Ed, Glenn for shit like that.
Mhm.
And of course, Ma.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, like when it comes to like man shit, I look back to my uncles, I guess, for that, for what I learned from them and being around them. I
You
don't
know,
ever think about Cicero when it comes to like man shit.
yeah. One thing though is that at least in the last 10 years for sure, the definition of like man stuff has
Mm-hmm.
changed. And
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
cuz like I always remember this fucking sick ass burn I read somebody put on Twitter. This boomer was like, you know, you fucking pussy ass men these days and blah blah blah. He was on some shit like that, right?
Okay.
And so and they were talking specifically about I think like millennials and stuff.
Yeah, I hate him.
And so this one millennial responded back and he was like, well, at least I'm not emotionally incapable of, you know, connecting with my children. I was
Ooh,
just like, oh, it's too deep.
damn. That's a deep burn.
That's
It
deep right
is,
there.
man. It's fucking
At
deep.
least I'm not emotionally incapable of connecting.
With my children. God damn.
And I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's kind of true. Like, there's a lot of bullshit.
Let me ask you this since we're on kids and
Mm-hmm.
you got some older ones. I got one in the house that's a little older, but I've kind of pulled back on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I feel like once you get to a certain age, like, there's no need to be condescending and bossy. It's kind of like I'm more with Donovan now. I'm more like I'm gonna give him his space
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna see what he do with it
Yeah.
and step in when I feel like I need to. But he hasn't put me in a situation or put himself in a situation where that I've needed to chime in, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, how are you? Is it different with girls? Because I was hard on him growing up. I was always, you got to be better than me, and you got to do this, and you can't be doing that, and this, that, and the other thing. And I was the atypical father to a boy, but with the girl, I kind of feel like my hands are tied because there's really no physical discipline. Because I don't feel like I could hit my daughter.
Yeah.
Like I could shout at her and she starts crying. And that's, I mean, that might be effective enough. I don't know.
Well, I mean, so first of all, just bigger picture, and you know, it's a philosophy difference, but you probably don't ever have to hit a kid to get them to
Okay.
do what. I mean, think about it. They're like shorter than you, and they don't eat
Yeah.
unless you say so.
Right.
Like they don't get a PS4 unless you say so. So like
Right.
there's all kinds of strings that you could pull or whatever
Right.
that you don't have to hit your kids anymore like they did back in the day, you
I
know?
can see that. Yeah.
So that's the first level. The second level, if you don't have to worry about that, then to a certain extent, uh, boys and girls, you treat them the same because you don't treat them any differently because you're like, well, I can't hit my kid because it's a girl. Like it doesn't matter because if you don't hit them at all, then that then puts them like on the even playing field.
Donovan used to get hit though. Like he'd do some bad shit. Spanking time. Like
Yeah.
there was more similar to how I was raised. Lydia was different though. She didn't really, you could tell because she was a good kid though. So
Mm-hmm.
she never got spankings. But that's because she never did stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I was like I was always legit doing some retarded shit when I was a kid. And I feel like I deserve most of the ass whoopings that came my way. Like, and I can look back now and feel that way,
uh-huh.
and now that you mention it about you don't really have to hit your kids anymore, I guess I could have been easier on Donovan
Mm-hmm.
than I was because he definitely got spankings.
Well, I mean, I will not argue that to a certain extent, corporal punishment, as they call it,
Mm-hmm.
is effective, but everything has a price, right?
Right.
And so, like, what you get when you get out of things what you put into them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you are in a household where people get hit, physically attacked, or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
for doing stuff, that's now a thing that's on the table. That's now a thing that could be reasonable in some situation.
Oh, it normalizes it,
Yeah.
desensitizes them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And especially like for women, because you got to think if you grow up in a household as a girl and your father never hit you, he just yelled at you or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then you date some dude and he gets kind of pushy with you or whatever,
Right.
you're like, oh, hell no, my daddy never hit me. There's no fucking way that you going to hit me.
Right.
I mean, there's no guarantee, right? But
Right. Of course.
it's much more likely.
That
That's a
she'd feel that way.
that's an anomaly. Like, oh, where'd this come from out of nowhere?
Right.
Similarly, on the other hand, for a boy, like, and I think guys are different because guys are socialized differently.
Right.
But if you were never hit by your parents as a kid, at least I'll say on a regular basis. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say that you should never 100% spank your kids. I really don't think you need to.
I got
I
you.
I would say maybe once or twice in a kid's life if they do something really dangerous or some shit like that.
Okay.
But that's not. I'm I'm not an advocate of that, but I'm willing to accept that as like a reasonable in certain conditions, maybe.
Okay.
But if you have someone who never was hit by their parents, a guy, where is he gonna get the idea to slap his girlfriend? Because if you don't hit your kids, you probably don't hit your wife either.
Right.
So therefore, nobody hits anybody in your house. So where are you gonna just get the idea that you could slap the shit out of your woman or whatever?
That's a good
You
point
know?
too.
So
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, it's probably better to not do that, especially because we know so much shit about psychology. Like in the 1800s, you got a
Yeah.
badass kid and you live on a fucking farm and you went to school to the fourth grade. Like, I'm gonna punch this nigga in the face because I just don't know what to
Right.
do.
Right.
So, like that's understandable. But like we got so many different tools and shit now that
Yeah, we know so much more. It is.
uh
I do feel like it's a different world now.
yeah.
Um, And I want to say part of me feels bad for being so hard on Donovan. He turned out pretty good so far, but some of that shit doesn't show through till you're 30.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, if you really feel that way, at some point, maybe you should mention it to him. Be like, hey, you know what? I, feel like sometimes I might have been too hard on you. I apologize. I wasn't doing it to be an asshole. I thought that it was appropriate fatherly behavior, but I still don't know if it was the right thing to do, but I have reconsidered it and I'm not sure. And I feel so, I sort of feel weird about it now. I feel like it might not have been the right call necessarily.
right.
So I just want to let you know if you feel some sort of way about it, I definitely do. And so, I'm sorry or whatever.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Like, because I did at the time think that it was appropriate, but now with a new kid and me noticing all of my differences because it's a female kid, it makes me feel like I was only like that because he was male. And it's like I wanted him to be tougher, or I wanted him to listen better, because it's important, especially the more dangerous of an environment that you grow up in. It's important that you listen, because there's so many mistakes that there's no coming back from.
Yeah.
So it was one of those. Yeah, I could see me having that talk with him.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right to an
future,
extent, because like I think about this kind of shit a lot, just personally. And I think about how different of a person I feel that I would be.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned about like having a father figure to teach you like appropriate manly behavior or whatever.
Right.
Right or wrong, whether or not it's appropriate now or whatever. Just what traditionally was considered the way that men were supposed to act, right?
Right.
I had to teach myself a lot of that stuff.
Right.
And learn just in the field, as they say, because I went to school with all these fucking hood rats.
Right.
Over there on
DeVry and shit.
No, I'm talking about like elementary school.
Are you talking?
I'm talking about elementary
Our
school.
Lady of Angels and St. Francis and all that.
Not St. Francis. St. Francis was Polish and Filipino kids.
Oh, okay.
But when I went to Our Lady of the Angels, most of those kids were not even Catholic. They were just black kids that lived in the neighborhood.
Right.
And their families paid for them to go to school so they could fuck up other people's lives. Instead of, I guess they were the victims at the public school, so they brought their bully shit to the fucking Catholic school so they could be bigger fish in a smaller fucking pond or whatever.
Right.
That was really my first introduction to having to learn how to deal with shit like that, because before that I was just a kid. I wasn't a fucking guy. I wasn't a chick. I was just a kid who liked fucking toys and bullshit like that, video games. You
had.
I like
social shit wasn't on your mind like that.
Yeah, I mean, I had like little girls that I kind of had a crush on, but I'd forget about that shit when it was time for me to play some fucking video games.
Right.
But all that shit had to change fucking quick. And all of that shit, I had to basically take all of that shit and ball it up and throw it in the fucking trash can. Regardless of whether or not I was done with that meal, that shit went in the fucking trash can. And I had to deal with some other shit.
Quick, too.
Yeah. So that's not ideal, but it is pragmatic. It's practical to learn for your own personal safety how you need to act. Because like if I had not gotten into that, if I had not retaliated against Cliff and hit him in the head with a fucking book,
right,
he would have continued to fucking try to bully me, or I guess he was bullying me technically. Yeah. And he would have continued to escalate the situation until like there was a situation when I lived in Normal where they killed this kid in PE class. They punched him in the chest, and like his heart stopped or some shit.
Damn.
Because that can happen when you punch somebody in the fucking heart.
Yeah.
And Cliff did that to me once in fucking gym class, just out of nowhere. He just came up out of nowhere. He didn't say shit to me. He just walked up on me and hit me in the fucking chest and knocked the wind out of me.
He
Because
was
I was
trying to
just,
bully.
yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? Because I couldn't breathe. That was the first time I ever had, probably the only time I ever had the wind knocked out of me.
The first time that I ever had the wind knocked out of me was this kid. He was the baddest kid in the class, like worst kid in the class. Herman Johnson. I'll never forget it
I
because
vaguely remember Herman. The
do
name,
you?
the name Herman, yeah. And you.
Yeah. He so I, like an idiot. You remember when the first Batman movie with Jack Nicholson came out?
Uh-huh.
I got this Batman doll,
Uh-huh.
and I remember that his belt used to come off, and you could hook his belt to something and then let him go, and he'd
Yeah, I
zip up
remember
to
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I took it to school,
Uh-huh.
and I knew I wasn't supposed to take it to school.
Yeah.
And I pulled it out to show some, like one of my real friends. And
Uh-huh.
then it was toward the end of the day, and this kid literally died and snatched it out of my fucking hand.
Uh-huh.
He dived and grabbed it, and there was this commotion, and he stole it, and he just deboed me.
Uh-huh.
And I confronted him outside of school. I was like, "You need to give me my Batman back," blah blah blah, and he punched me in the chest. And there was somebody behind me. I think it was a teacher or something walking past or something
Uh-huh.
like that. But we were outside, and it was, if you're facing the school, it was just off to the left of the entrance.
Uh-huh.
And he punched me in the chest, and I couldn't breathe for like a couple of seconds. And I just remember like passing out and falling straight backwards, and somebody caught me.
Uh-huh.
That was the first time somebody had ever, like taken the breath out of me, hitting me.
Uh-huh.
The only other time was years later when Dad was whooping me for something I stole, or I don't know what I did stupid.
Uh-huh.
And then he was hitting me on the ass with the belt, but I still couldn't catch my breath
Uh-huh.
or whatever. So I
Yeah.
remember him beating the breath out of me one day. But yeah, that was the first time. Fucking Herman Johnson. I don't even know if that motherfucker's still alive. Probably not.
Yeah.
Or he's in jail doing 20.
Yeah.
Most likely.
I mean, you probably ain't wrong. Like,
I'm pretty sure I'm head on there.
yeah. But yeah, see, like that's the kind of shit that shit shapes who you are.
Yeah.
That's fucking traumatic. And think
Yeah.
about him. Like, think about
Where'd he
how
learn it from?
exactly his parents probably beat the shit out of him.
Right.
So he's just doing what he knows, what he was taught.
Right. Yeah. I never tried to look at the situation and humanize him, because I've always just,
Well, it's hard because when you have something like that happen to you, like you're a little kid and you don't know how to process it.
Right.
So it doesn't even become, it's not even a thing that happened anymore. It's almost like it's just a feeling that you have.
It's a memory.
Yeah. But it's like not even a memory at some point. It's more, it just becomes like a feeling,
Right.
And then you carry that forward. And it's so long, you don't even remember the details, possibly. Sometimes you do if it's a bad enough thing.
Right.
But over time, you don't remember the details, but that feeling is still there. And so at some point, you can be in the future and you remember that a thing happened. You don't remember the details, but you definitely know how you feel about it, which is really weird. I found myself in a couple situations like that.
Okay.
And I think that sort of dovetails back to what you were talking about earlier with younger people. Like they haven't had that. I have lived long enough so far to have shit like that happened to me in my childhood. that I discovered digging around in my trunk of memories that like, oh, I don't even remember what happened. I remember that he did some crazy shit to me. And I know, fuck that guy. I still feel that way, but I don't even remember exactly what it was. I kind of do,
Yeah.
but and then you're like, why should I be upset about this if I literally can't even remember? It's so long ago that I can't even remember. Plus, I know that I'm a completely different person now than I was then.
So why
So,
would he not be? You know?
exactly. So, who am I
Right.
mad at? The person I'm mad at doesn't exist anymore. The person that it happened to doesn't exist anymore. So, what are you upset about?
That's crazy with memories, ain't it?
It is, yeah.
Like, cause I can resonate with exactly what you're talking about. I don't have any specific examples, but
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely remembered shit that I just knew wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a feeling now. And I might remember a name or, like Herman Johnson or something like that, little bitty
Yeah.
details, but anything else that's associated with it, I can't really remember. I
Mm-hmm.
just remember that it put a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Memories are weird like that, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They are, man. The way the brain works is weird.
Hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about getting older, though,
Mm-hmm.
lately. As even like when I like go outside to smoke a cigar, like I even think about how long I've been smoking, and I feel like I'm not gonna smoke forever because it's just like drinking. Like I've scaled it down so much because it doesn't do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of one of those, similar to that. I don't know that I'll change with the weed, because weed still affects me each time. But sometimes when I'm smoking a cigar, I'll be like, why am I smoking?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
And I have a tendency not to really do shit that's completely pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm not getting anything out of it, why am I doing it?
I mean, that's a really good philosophy to have about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like reconsider, like, why am I actually doing this? What's the real reason?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that's the reason why, you know, I'll stop playing a video game or stop watching a TV show. Like
Okay.
I'm not enjoying this. The only reason I'm watching this or doing this is because I have the sunk cost fallacy where I think that I've spent some amount of currency
Right.
by spending my time on this, and now I feel like I have to finish it, even
Okay.
though I'm not enjoying it anymore, kind of a thing.
Right.
So, like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, with video games, it's pretty easy for me to stop.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like you know like there's any little OCD part of me that just has to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
or in general, I just don't have this. Oh well, I started something and I have to finish it. I don't know if that was bad parenting or if that's just my personality. Like, but I don't have this real big sense of like I'll finish shit when I get around to it.
Yeah.
I don't feel pressured or anything from myself to finish shit
Mm-hmm.
that I start.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Sometimes you start doing something that doesn't really need finishing.
That is true. Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? That's what I guess wisdom is. Wisdom is knowing, in part, one aspect of wisdom is knowing when you should quit and when it's okay to quit.
Okay.
You know,
That makes sense.
like, and something I've been thinking about just now is talking about younger people still and that whole thing.
Hmm.
Like you can think of experience as context.
Yeah.
Everything's in context, you know?
Yeah.
Like you were talking about that thing with Herman and you're a little kid
Right.
and you're upset because he did whatever.
Yeah, he robbed me.
Yeah, yeah, he did. He fucking
Yeah, he pulled the Mike Tyson on my ass, and when I confronted him about it, he taught me a lesson about confronting him.
Yeah.
You're not gonna come out winning on that end.
Uh-huh.
So I, you know,
But if
needless to
you
say, I didn't bother him anymore about it.
yeah. But then you go if you had learned that like, his parents beat the shit out of him,
Right. And
like
his uncle touched him and shit like
yeah,
that.
like imagine he's sitting there eating a bowl of cereal and his dad just walks up to him and slaps that motherfucker out the chair onto the floor.
Right.
That would put different context. You'd be like, okay, I mean, that's still fucked up what he did, but damn, this old man knocked the shit out of
But
him.
it explains why he was the way he was.
Right.
He
So
was probably from a significantly worse environment than what I
uh-huh.
was.
And so and the other thing too
And
is
he could
that
have lived in the projects back
yeah.
then.
And
For
the other
all
thing
we know.
too is that it makes it easier for you to understand how it was not necessarily something about you. That whole take it personal thing.
Yeah.
It was because when people do shit, generally speaking, they do it because of themselves. They do things
Okay.
to other people.
Yeah.
They do it because of how they feel inside.
Right.
That takes me, since we're on the same conversation with talking to younger people, I've said a couple of times at work the thing that you told me, because I remember when I was struggling with whatever my boss's pronouns are, beating his ass because he wanted to threaten my fucking job all the time. I'll walk you out of here, you insecurity motherfucker.
Yeah.
You ain't walking me anywhere if I don't want to go. Now you and 7 security guards maybe, but
Yeah.
that's where I was at,
Uh-huh.
and you kind of, got me to reel it back a little bit whenever you had said that the way managers and directors and shit like that talk to people, that's about them, not about me. And that really helped me to not take shit as personal at work.
Yeah.
And it kind of, forced me, so to speak, to, think about it in a different light.
Yeah.
So I was able to step back from it, as opposed to before, where I wasn't really able to let it go. And it was just festering in me and burning, and I just wanted to beat his ass.
Yeah.
And I've repeated that. You've told me that a couple times at work, speaking to the young chick, because I feel like she really needs to just take shit less personally, and life would be a little easier.
That's a lot of people. It's something I still need to work on. I know, and I tell other people, but I still take shit personally sometimes. A lot of times, honestly. Like, it's hard to, especially, I feel like, especially because of the way that we grew up in like the situation, neighborhood and shit, people that we were around growing up, not necessarily family stuff, but,
right. Just
just
environmental shit.
ghetto ass Chicago shit. Yeah.
Right.
Like, because having like, you need to maintain a certain level of dignity and like reputation. You can't just let people walk around and walk on you,
Right.
because then it becomes a worse thing.
Yeah. Totally.
Like that's a real
It's
thing you have to
exacerbated.
worry about. So in some ways, it's a little bit different because you can't just let shit go. It's like the whole, it's the whole cliche when you're in prison, like you can't just let people fucking punk you.
Right.
Like that's what, and see, that's one of the things I've tried to talk to. A lot of people get it, but I have a handful of white people in my life in the past who don't, like, they can't imagine this kind of shit. Like, you have never been in a situation where you literally could die.
Right.
Like, literally, like, not, oh my God, I died. Like, no, I mean, literally, you die. You are dead. Someone kills you, and they're not even all that. They don't even feel that bad about it.
Right.
You know, like they just can't fathom being in an environment where you are literally, your life is literally in peril, and
That reminds me
the way you
of,
behave has a direct impact on, like whether or not you might get killed or some shit.
yeah, the way you carry yourself is
Mm-hmm.
important, especially in the hood.
Yeah.
That reminds me of this story this week, and I'll make it short because it's not worth any length, really. But um, couple things to note. Since this COVID shit,
Mm-hmm.
we've been doing legal department work
Yeah.
in terms of like we have to open mail and scan and email it to different people in different legal departments or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like you got to read some of the mail, and if you see that it says subpoena, then it goes to Tommy. Or if it says real estate or property management, then it
Yeah.
goes to Tina, or whatever the case,
I
right?
got you.
So this bitch, and I'm putting her name out there on the streets, Carol Martinkus, this fucking cunt comes down to the mailroom. Now, I work with this bitch enough, and she's white, of course. I work with this bitch enough that I've only been there for 6 months, but I know her fucking name. That's how often she comes into the fucking mailroom, right? And this bitch. So she comes down to the mailroom, and she's looking for mail for her because she's some sort of like executive assistant. I think they call them admins or something like that. But
Uh-huh.
she basically works for some big wig. She's the secretary to some big wig, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which in her eyes, I guess, gives her big balls, right?
Yeah.
And so, or at least balls the size of her bosses, right?
Uh-huh.
And so she comes down, and it's 1 o'clock. It's in between 1 and 2. And I say that because the two ladies that sort the mail were both on lunch, and they go on lunch at like 1 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
And so she fucking comes down there looking for her mail and her people's mail. And I look in the two spots that I know her mail is supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was no fucking mail there
Yeah.
for her or the people she was asking for. And so I like walk back up to the counter. I say, "You don't have any mail." "I don't have any." I'm like, "Well, I mean, the only other thing I can tell you is that the two ladies that sort mail are on lunch. So what I can do is whenever they get back, I can ask them if you had any mail, and I can email
Mm-hmm.
you and like let you know." Well, I forgot to email her. And that's my fault. I'll take that, right? And that's my fault. I forgot to ask when they came back from lunch because we're understaffed and I'm overworked and
Uh-huh.
I was doing a bunch of shit. And I thought about it at like one point, but then I was like, oh, well, let me finish this. And by the time I was finished with that other task, I had completely forgotten about it.
Yeah.
So that's my bad, definitely.
Uh-huh.
So this is definitely a story where I'm in the wrong. However, this bitch comes down about 2 hours later. I'm about to leave because I'm working a different shift, right?
Uh-huh.
This other dude that I work with, he was out or whatever. So I'm working his shift, which is just an hour difference.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes back, and then the ladies told me where the mail was. So I bring the tub of mail up to the front wherever she's at, and I put it on the counter. I put the tub on the counter. I
Uh-huh.
didn't give her the fucking mail. I didn't tell her, oh, here, all of this is yours. I put it on the counter because the lady that knew about the mail was standing there talking to her, which is the young chick, Nancy, that I was talking about, right?
Uh-huh.
She was telling her that she has mail, and she was giving her an update on what she's supposed to do with her mail when it comes in and all of this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And so she fucking loses her shit. I mean, she does everything but fucking cuss.
Uh-huh.
Well, bitch, I'm from the hood, B. Like, all that shit don't mean nothing to me. Like, all of your white anger does, and this is how I know I'm getting more fucking racist, because it was funny to me. And now we have to keep a mask on all day. So I can actually smile underneath my fucking mask.
Yeah.
And you not necessarily know that my eye squinting is me fucking smiling. You know what I mean? Versus trying to see you. Like, but the matter she got, she was so pissed that like she was getting her mail 2 hours late. You know, and I just ruined her fucking year. Like, fuck COVID. I forgot her fucking mail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She hadn't been there in 2 months, granted, right? So she definitely should have had some fucking mail there. But, you know, they're working from home, making their 80, 90 stacks a fucking year, while we're the ones stuck doing their fucking job. You know, all of the little shit. Check your own fucking mail. In our job description, it says sort mail, not fucking open it and read it and send it to different departments and all this other extra shit. So I really didn't give a fuck what she was mad about. Like, wholeheartedly, I didn't give a fuck about this lady's anger. Now, I feel like that's mostly because she was white.
Probably.
Like, and acting like a privileged bitch. But bro, she got so fucking mad that like Nancy was holding the fucking bucket, and she had explained to her 3 times that all of that mail's not yours. And this bitch is gonna go say to me, she's like, excuse me, hold on. She's like, well, then why did he give me all of this mail? And I look at her and I was like, I didn't give you any mail. I just put the tub on the counter.
Yeah.
Like, I said it just like that. She had nothing to say to that.
You assumed.
Right.
that was your stuff.
And then she fucking takes the goddamn thing and snatches it away from Nancy. Nancy liked to knock her the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like with the look that she gave her, like, bitch, what the fuck? You know, type of thing.
Yeah.
And Nancy's this little, you know, feisty Mexican chick. So she was holding her tongue like a motherfucker. But still, the more she got mad, the more I enjoyed it. But I realized, though, that it was because she had never really went through any shit in her life. Not comparable to mine.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like looking at a 9-year-old get mad to where you're like, man, you're entirely too upset about this.
Yeah.
You know, to where you're this super rational individual and this person is just off the rocker, livid, you know?
Yeah.
And like she was just mad and like I said, everything but cussing, you know, but like she was condescending and I was just the most incompetent motherfucker in the universe at like that point, even though I had explained to her that I looked where her mail was supposed to be, you know, and blah, blah, blah. But none of that shit mattered to her.
No.
But I just had like a realization about myself that like white people's anger doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Like, because I was literally laughing at her while she was getting mad at my mistake. And it was my honest mistake because her mail was there. But it had been moved literally that day because her boss's boss had us do something different with that lady's mail, which she works for. and Nancy had literally just separated it and moved it to a different location. So it was physically not there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was an honest mistake. And that's why I didn't beat myself up about it at all. You know what I mean? But it
Mm-hmm.
was one of them things to where like she was just so angry and I was just so calm that like she looked like a little 9-year-old to me.
Mm-hmm.
These fucking white people, man. I'm telling you, I got no sympathy for white people anymore. And this COVID shit has not been good for my racism. Like at all.
Your itis.
Yeah.
You got inflammation of the racism.
I have inflammation of the racism. Definitely. I'm
Oh
telling
yeah.
you, man. Fucking white people irk me now. And there was this white bitch on the train. I ain't even look at her the other day. You know, I always got a train story for you.
Uh-huh.
Fucking, there was this white bitch on the train. She must have been new. She was walking up to everybody. Excuse me, could you spare a few dollars?
Uh-huh.
Blah, blah, blah. And I didn't hear anything else that she said because she was talking this low. And I'm thinking to myself, bitch, speak up. You begging. Motherfuckers need to hear you when you beg.
You gotta be
You're
assertive.
still ashamed of begging, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're not hungry enough. Get the fuck away from me. I wouldn't give you this new bottle of water that I keep on my book bag right now.
You low effort hobo.
Right. The fuck out of here with your white ass. Like, and she was, but you know, moreover than that, you know, like she asking for a few dollars. Bitch, what happened to spare change? What suburb are you from where motherfuckers ask for a few dollars?
Oh,
What
you
the
know what?
fuck are we doing now?
Dude, I'm imagining it, dude, see again, it could be a skit like a Saturday Night Live. Like you start off the skit with like a news flash that talks about the stock market falling and stuff. And so then you go out to a guy in front of the Chicago Board of Trade, right?
Right.
He's like the guy with the microphone talking.
Right.
And this like dirty ass white dude in like expensive dirty ass suit comes up and he's like, "Hey, you got $100 I could borrow?" And like, I don't think you understand. Like, that's not how banking works. It's like, what do you mean? Like $100 is way too much. Like, what do you mean that's way too much? That's like
It's $100.
I can only buy like 2 cans of caviar. Like, no.
Right.
You don't understand how this begging thing is supposed to work now. And then just there's all these misunderstandings because he's had so much money that he just doesn't understand the basics of being like homeless and being like a bum.
Right.
He's like,
Yeah. And
I don't have
felt
anywhere
like
to stay and I can't find somewhere to park my Mercedes so I can sleep tonight. Like, do you have a night?
right.
Like, wait, what? You still got a Mercedes?
Right.
Like, what are you good? Why don't you sell it? Well, I can't
I
sell that. That's a collector's item.
that's the AMG. What do you mean? Fuck out of here. I literally didn't even look up from my phone for her.
Yeah.
I just kept staring at my phone and pretended like I had headphones in because I
Yeah.
had a hoodie on, so you couldn't tell anyway.
Uh-huh.
Or, you know, and I had one in, but I never wear two in public.
Yeah.
And but I didn't even look up. Like that was like plus her shoes. I did see her shoes. Her shoes looked new. Pants were clean. Jacket was clean.
Uh-huh.
She had a clean book bag. It was empty, but it was clean. Everything looked clean about it. I was half confused. Like I felt like I caught her on her first day of begging, and then she gets off at Conservatory Central fucking Park, which is where all of the dope fiends get off.
Oh yeah.
That's the stop. All of them motherfuckers, especially the white ones,
Mm-hmm.
because there's I don't know, like I was thinking about it the other day because I saw another broke white dude, and broke white dudes look different.
than like regular white dudes. There's regular, blue collar white dudes, you know what I mean? And then there's like the homeless ones.
Yeah.
They just have a completely different look to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no mistaking it. And they, like that was definitely, but like that's the stop that all of the fucking hobos get off on. Apparently there's some good drugs around there or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
But
Well,
yeah, of course she ended up getting off there.
yeah.
And it was just one of those things. I just shake my head. These fucking dope fiends.
Well, dude, we have a drug problem now that white people are addicted to heroin.
Right.
Before,
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
oh, no,
No.
there's no problems. Everything's all right.
I still love that fucking Dave Chappelle line
Mm-hmm.
from his Sticks and Stones, wherever he was talking about like he understands how fucking white people felt in the 90s
Mm-hmm.
about the blacks, and the crack epidemic,
Yeah.
and how now there's this heroin and opioid epidemic for the whites. And he ends his little joke, I don't care either. Like, that's how I feel about it. I don't
Yeah.
fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, you're white, you're in America, you were probably born ahead of where I was born, so fuck you. And I don't know, part of me, even this is on some other shit probably, but part of me is like, even for like the bougie ass black people,
Mm-hmm.
like part of me is like, I don't give a fuck what happens to them either, because they're fucking rich. If somebody is rich, I don't give a fuck what happens to them. People, I'm not saying it's right, but anything could happen. Something as horrible as their daughter gets raped, whatever, like just anything horrible you could think about. You know what I mean? Like, and I just don't give a fuck. Like, it's like, get your rich ass out of here with your rich problems. Your daughter was probably only at that party because of blah blah blah, and you know what I mean? I come up with shit like that to say, and justify it in my head somehow of
Yeah.
why I shouldn't give a fuck. But I straight up feel like what, like whether Dave really feels like that or not, I straight up feel like that. I do, at least.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care about white people problems. I don't give
Honestly,
a fuck.
he probably doesn't care. Like, he seems to be on some of that kind of shit.
Yeah, I can
He's on
see
some
that.
money shit. But
He's definitely on some money shit.
speaking of money, like, I think that's a big part of the problem. Like, so many people have contributed for so long
Mm-hmm.
to the disparity. And that's the thing. It's not just, so you're always going to have people who just roll the dice and they don't get as much
Right.
out of life, right?
Okay.
Even amongst white people.
Right. Yeah.
You got the people that get rich and famous, you got the regular white people,
Yeah.
and you got like the dope fiend white people.
Right.
That's just a thing that happens.
Yeah. Totally.
But that's not the only problem we have. We also have problems with racism that contribute to it. We have problems with police brutality. We have problems with like voter disenfranchisement, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which in a lot of, and these are not, if they were spread evenly across everybody in the country, it wouldn't be okay, but it would be more normal. It'd be normalized, like literally and figuratively, kind of, you know?
Right.
But this is concentrated with like black people for the most part. And even, and that's one of the things I've been on recently, is that I have thoughts about this whole concept of people of color.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really believe in the concept of people of color anymore. And we can talk about that as a separate thing.
Okay.
But like when you have so many, there's so many, problems that come and smack you in the fucking face when you're fucking black, you know?
Right.
Like, you know what? You might not have contributed to this shit as a regular white person, but you haven't tried to fucking help. You haven't even paid attention. I'm out here getting my ass beat by the police, and you're just walking past, not even fucking
Noticing.
paying attention. Like, you're not
Right.
treating me as if I'm like an equal person to you,
Right.
because like if you saw the police beating the shit out of a white boy, you'd be like, hey, like, what are you guys doing? Like, you
What's
would be
going on here?
concerned. But when you see the police roughing up a fucking black person, you're like, oh, whatever, it's just what happens.
That's what they get.
I think they like that stuff anyway.
Right.
So, like I don't it's definitely not healthy. I don't think it's okay, so to speak, and I don't think that it's part of the solution to the problem,
Right.
but I can't it's not irrational to feel that way. And I feel that way sometimes too. It's hard for me to not feel that way sometimes.
Right.
So, yeah, like, and I've felt bad a lot of times too, because similarly, like I'll hear about like a celebrity that commits suicide,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just be like, I mean, everybody's looking at me. You have $20 million in the bank. Stop making movies and go move to fucking wherever.
Cambodia. Whatever.
Cambodia,
Right.
you could move to the middle of Arkansas, nowhere. Nobody would
Right.
fucking find you. Like you have options. You have so many options. They might not be options that you like, but you have
Right.
options.
Yeah.
And
Especially
you
with that
you
type of money.
chose to kill yourself. And I know that that's not the most kind of sensitive way to think about that, because it is a
Oh no, that's
tragedy.
not sensitive at all, bro.
But like, like I I only have so many tears to shed. And
Yeah.
I'm already 43 and I've already shed a whole bunch of them. So
Yeah.
like, like what do you want me to do? I'm running out of fucks to give about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. Like, and it's not like, I've been talking about, like, I got into an argument with this dude that I was sort of friends with for a while. He was trying to tell me all this stupid bullshit about like, oh, you fucking Russian bots, bro. And fucking Bernie's a fucking asshole, and you got to do this, and like Joe Biden didn't rape anybody. There's no credible allegations. I'm like, you trying to tell me that Joe Biden's sniffing bitches' fucking necks every fucking day, but he's never tried to grab anybody
Right.
by the
He ain't
fucking
never
pussy?
squeezed the booty cheek at a Christmas party or nothing.
No. I know way too many fucking dudes that are like that fucking guy
Right.
to know better. Do I got
Yep.
proof? No. But you are
You
not
don't
going to
need it.
convince me that this nigga didn't do that shit,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So, I just, you can't at some point, just like, we live in different worlds.
Right.
I can't even talk to you. If I have to explain this shit to you, this shit is so fundamental, some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like we're from two different planets.
That's how I felt with that Martinkus bitch. Like, the first thing that just kept going through my head was like, bitch, I done dealt with real shit, like real life shit, like going down a mountain in a truck that's out of gear and I had to fix it. Like, being
Yeah.
around shootouts. You remember that
Uh-huh.
shootout in Maywood where we had to heave ho all the kids back into the fucking house?
Uh-huh.
Real shit. Not what
Yeah.
you getting mad about some male huffing and puffing like a 9-year-old means dick to me.
Yeah.
It literally is nothing remotely close to being serious to me.
Mm-hmm.
You're just acting out because you can
Yeah.
right now. But if I reach across this counter and slap the shit out of you, I know that shit will change.
Yeah.
Immediately, you'll stop talking to me like that. And then you'll just go into this call the police mode.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to continue to put yourself in danger at that point
because somebody's already slapped you.
Yeah.
So you know that this person's willing to, quote unquote, take it too far in your little white book.
Mhm.
When to me, that's just regular ghetto behavior. You don't talk to people like that. The fuck is you talking to?
Yeah.
Real quick. Like, and it goes back to the Mike Tyson checking TK.
Mhm.
Hey, did you just take that? What the fuck is she gonna do? I
Yeah.
slapped the shit out of her. What the fuck are you gonna do? Nothing.
Mhm.
You're not gonna
Yeah.
do anything but get slapped again.
Yeah.
Like, so you go call your fucking cops, and be on with your fucking day. But you ain't gonna talk to me like that anymore. And that's
Yeah.
where I want to take it, of course.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right? We all know how that situation is.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't take her fucking serious anymore though.
Yeah.
So what's up with the you no longer believing in the color thing? What was that about?
The people of color thing. So
People of color. Yeah.
I've always had my doubts and I couldn't articulate why. But I'm like, why? From my personal perspective,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about experiences as a black man
Okay.
in this country, right?
Yeah.
And I know that there's a difference between me as a black man whose ancestors were slaves in this country.
Mm-hmm.
That's completely different from another black man who came over here when he was 15 from Africa.
Right. Or Jamaica or some shit.
Yeah, which is different from some Indian dude who came over here
Yeah.
to get a $80,000 job working at Google or some bullshit like that,
Right.
compared to just like all of these different people. Even
Yeah.
even if you're fucking Mexican or Puerto Rican,
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Rican's a little different because you know
Right.
But
You gotta
even that,
throw Cubans in the same category
oh,
with
we
Puerto Rican.
definitely need to talk about Cubans for sure. Cubans, and so what I came to realize I've been reading some stuff and listening to some people talk about it,
Mhm.
and it finally makes sense to me. Like, so here's the problem. The problem is that you create this group, people of color.
Right.
People of color supposedly are mistreated by the man, we'll say,
Okay.
because racism, right?
Right.
Because white people are racist and they treat anybody who's not white um, as like a piece of shit.
Inferior. Right.
Yeah. So what happens when half of the people who are people of color are Cuban and half of the motherfuckers are white? At least they look white.
Mm.
They got blonde
Yeah.
hair and blue eyes.
Right.
Are you people of color? A lot of these motherfuckers pretend like they don't let people know that they're Cuban, especially if they don't got an accent. I'm
Right.
just a white girl. I'm just a white boy. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a little
Mm.
spicy. That's all.
I didn't think about that. There are some blonde haired, blue eyed Cuban motherfuckers
Yeah,
though, ain't it?
it's true for Puerto Ricans too. Which
That's true.
that's a
Just look
it
at Joe's skin color.
uh-huh.
I mean,
On a
same
good
thing. Fucking Nancy, the chick that I work with,
mm-hmm.
jokes about it all the time.
Yeah.
She says she looks like a white girl. She looks Mexican to me, but she has like pale skin. Like she's white complected.
She could probably change her behavior to be a little bit over the top, acting white, so to speak.
Okay.
And white people who don't know Latinos would not be able to tell necessarily.
Okay.
Like if she went to
I
nowhere
can see that.
Kentucky or some shit,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
then she'd be able to pass as
She can
being
still
white.
blend in, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and that's not to say that these people don't get possibly mistreated in one way or another by general white people, because honestly, those motherfuckers mistreat everybody. But okay, so you are like a brown skinned Latino person. You come from Venezuela. The problem in Venezuela is that you have a socialist government that wants to murder you. So you come over here to America, land of the free, home of the brave, and then the Democrats come up to you. No, no, a black person comes up to you and says, "Hey, how you doing? I see you're brown too. So we want you to vote together with us so we can have like political power." And they're like, "Yes." And so you're like, "So we want to vote so that the police don't mistreat us." And they're like, "Yes." And we want to vote so that, we can get a job, and not be discriminated against because of the color of our skin. And they're like, "Yes."
Right.
And then you say, then the black person says, "And we want the government to give us, free healthcare and all this other stuff as a right of citizenship." And they're like, "No, because that sounds like socialism and that scares me. So I'm going to go over here
Mm.
and vote for the Republicans because they're not talking about anything that reminds me of the horrible country that I just left."
That's why all them motherfuckers, all them Cubans in fucking Florida voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't
Wow.
want nothing to do with communism and they don't want
Right.
nothing to do with socialism.
Right.
And that's true for a lot of Latinos. A lot of
That's
Latinos
interesting.
think they're fucking white, and some of them are. Like
Right.
they're treated to a certain extent like white people. And that's even
Yeah.
true for Indian people. To a certain extent, whiteness is not necessarily about melanin. Whiteness is like a label that gets placed upon you that means that you're okay. So in some
Mm.
ways, whiteness means not black in this country
Mm.
because black people are constantly by every other racial group in this country are pushed to the bottom and held there because everybody else knows that somebody has to be at the bottom and they don't want it to be them. So they are more than willing to join in the club of everybody around here keeping black people at the bottom of the fucking ladder. So
That
that's
makes
why
so much sense.
there's not going to be people of color is not going to do anything for black people in this country
So
because
it's you're more down for the ADOS thing
yeah,
because that does make a difference.
and specifically until we have some things that are fixed. Because the way I think about it is like you come into a neighborhood and you got these two dudes that have been that they have history.
Mhm.
They have beef that they need to still settle. And you come in and you're like, "Hey, I want all of us to just hold hands and get along." Like, "No, this nigga owes me some money and he did this to me and he did that to me." Like, "No, we got shit to work out. I
Right.
can do that, but we got some shit to work out. And until that shit gets worked out, this motherfucker owes me."
Right.
And that's the way that I feel. Whether or not white people want to hear that shit, this country owes black people who have
Yeah.
ancestors who literally built this country. They owe them a lot. And a big part of it is fucking money.
How do you feel about like
Trevor Noah talks about the apartheid and all of that was in Africa when he was growing up, and his
Mm-hmm.
father had to walk across the street whenever they were walking down the street because he was light skinned. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, and the government apologized for it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was a good start,
Yeah.
but just apologizing for it without having any type of action means shit.
Yeah. That's true.
So, how do you feel about,
basically
would that be a good start for them to acknowledge that that was fucked up? Because
Yeah.
I still feel like they haven't even really acknowledged that, like, how fucked up slavery was in the long term.
They haven't because we still regularly have people who try to throw shit like maybe 5 years ago. There was a big stink because somebody in this country in a child's like a school history book had written some dumb shit about like, "Oh, slaves," like, they were trying to basically say, "Oh, it wasn't that bad for slaves." And they were being real slick.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't say that slavery didn't happen, but they would call them like workers. Like they specifically were
Right.
talking about slaves, and they did not want to use the word slaves. They wanted to use the word worker.
I think I know what you're talking about. I feel like I heard something about that too.
It was a kind of a big stink.
Yeah,
And like that shit still
because they
happens
were.
regularly.
Is that the one they were calling them, or like they preferred to call them indentured servants or something
Maybe,
like that?
possibly. I know that they specifically did not want to
Yeah,
use the
they
word
wouldn't
slave
use slaves.
because they didn't, they're trying to downplay. You cannot defend enslaving someone. You can't. It
Right.
is morally indefensible in pretty much any context.
Right.
And so that's why they don't want to use that word because they still want to try to defend it. They still feel the need to defend what their ancestors did. Now that
Right.
could be because they just have feelings about that. It could be because they still sort of feel that way. I don't know. Maybe we can't ever really know for sure. But
Right.
either way, it shows me that like at this point, racism is not a problem with black people. Racism is 99% a problem with white people in this country. And maybe
I agree.
99% is too strong. So what's the
Yeah.
percentage of white
Whatever.
people that voted for Donald Trump? That's at least that percentage of white people in this country still have a fucking problem.
Okay.
Because this dude was
I'm
literally
comfortable with
like, I
that.
mean, people in the Klan, they're not really that bad, are they? And they
Right.
voted for his ass.
Right.
Wow.
Like
We got a
even
long way to go, man.
we do. It's ridiculous how far. I mean, how far we still have to go is ridiculous. And
Yeah, it is.
honestly, we have probably slid back 10 to 20 years by having Donald Trump as fucking president.
You think that much?
You know what? Maybe not. Maybe it was just a lot of hiding and bullshit.
Right.
Maybe these people had not changed the way they felt. They were
I
just
feel
hiding it.
like there's a lot of them that are exposed now, though.
Yeah, they felt comfortable to come out of their
Yeah.
fucking shell.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the water's nice right now for racism. Let me come on out.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I try to be optimistic,
Right.
but the more I try to look at things objectively, at the way
It's
things are in
hard.
this country, like I feel less the more I look at it, the less I feel like it's logical to try to be optimistic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. It's fucking hard, man. Like,
Yeah.
so much shit seems like it never changes. And particularly even I don't know if you could chalk this up to racism or not, but I'm sure somebody could wrap it back around. But even like with my company that I work for, they're the third party company, right?
Mhm.
They're not the ones that are the, big global company. They work for this big global company, and they're all about service, service, service. And what can I provide so that I get the contract renewed, you
Mhm.
know? And because of that, it seems like there's no limit to the bullshit that my boss is willing to accept for us to do, even shit that's completely not our job. And
Yeah,
it's funny
because
because you'll hear this other manager whenever she has to even do something as simple as print a document for some other department.
mhm.
Oh, well, why am I contributing to their paycheck today?
Mhm.
Oh, it's okay for you to complain, but when the little man like me complains, I'm stepping out of line. But
Yeah,
because you're a
exactly.
manager, it's okay for you to complain about doing somebody else's job that your
Mhm.
buddy manager, who's my manager, fucking just keeps taking on more and more and more responsibility that shouldn't be our responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, and it,
Yep.
it seems like there's no end to this shit.
Yeah.
And try as I may, to make sense of it in my fucking head, it's still hard for me to swallow.
Yeah.
Having to do shit for fucking rich people. Ugh.
It's hard, man. It can be hard. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to make it seem like everybody in this country is fucking lazy.
Right.
But if you look at the numbers, like the average worker in this country is more productive than they were in the fucking 70s. And that's part of the problem. All of that productivity has translated into more money. And instead of them raising salaries for the people doing the work, they funneled all of that money up to the fucking top. Like, think about this. We, in March, we had the beginning of this pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And millions of people in this country had to stop fucking working. And like the top richest people in this country made trillions of dollars still.
Right.
Like nobody was fucking working.
Right.
And these motherfuckers were still making money. How is that fucking possible?
Right.
It says two things. It says, one, there are parts of our economy that are complete bullshit, and they're not based on any real work.
Right.
Like there are huge parts of our economy that are based on wealthy people buying shit back and forth between each other.
Right.
They're not actually making anything or doing anything.
Yeah, so, it reminds me of the stock market.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what it is. The stock market, to a certain extent, because they try to say, oh, well, a company, the products it produces and all that. Like, nobody was producing shit. Nobody was providing service. How are these motherfuckers still making money?
Right.
There's bullshit involved. It's like, somebody says, oh, your house is being powered by this machine. So you take an axe and you cut the fucking cord that goes to your fucking house and the lights don't turn off. Right. Obviously that machine is not what's powering my fucking house.
Exactly.
So somebody told me some bad info. They lied about some shit or something. And not only did they make a shitload of money, they made like, I think, $3 trillion. Like the top 10 companies or whatever in this country.
Right.
People like Amazon.
And they got a nice stimulus package on top of that.
Yeah.
Because that's where all that stimulus money went, is to businesses. That shit didn't go. If they would have handed that shit out, they could have probably, I don't know what the numbers are, but they could have probably gave everybody $5,000 or $10,000, instead of giving all that money to these businesses, which I don't know if you've been keeping up, but all of these rappers and, a lot of these rich motherfuckers are going to jail because of PPE fraud.
Oh, really? I hadn't realized that.
Yeah. There's this dude, G Herbo, was, renting. Yeah. I literally have no idea where he got his fucking
Do these motherfuckers realize that their names make them sound like fucking simps, like fucking Herbs? Like your name's Herb.
Right.
That's not a good thing being a fucking Herb, is it?
Yeah, but he's a G.
Oh,
put the G in front of it. So,
my name's G Buster, son.
Right. My name's G Licking Niggas Ass. Wait, what? Yeah, but I'm a G. Fuck the fact that I lick a nigga's ass. Fuck all that. You ain't got to bring up old shit.
Oh, man.
Their fucking names. But anyway, he was doing some sort of scam with, he was using other people's IDs to rent rooms and private jets. I don't know who the fuck you have to rob or identity theft that you can, charge a fucking charter plane, to go to Jamaica on. Like, I don't know what type of credit you're stealing, but you definitely couldn't steal my credit and fucking do anything with it.
Yeah.
other than get another credit card. Like that's another $500 limit credit card. You know what I mean? If that, like,
Can I split this trip between 17 credit cards, please?
right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I don't know what type of credit they stealing, but
Yeah.
you know,
But yeah, like
supposedly. But there's a lot of fraud with the PP. I think they were calling it PPE shit, the little
you
PP loans or something.
you
Like
heard of that steak place, Ruth's Chris?
yeah.
Um,
Oh
you know
boy,
that
what they do?
they were in I don't want to say trouble. They got called out because they applied for a fucking loan,
Mhm.
like a high end fucking $100 cost you to
Yeah,
eat their steak
$100 a
place,
plate. Yeah,
and they're like, "We need money. We ain't got no money."
that's because you ain't got no customers because your shit's closed.
Yeah, but like, so here's the thing: when you talk to one of these executives, like at a dinner party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you talk to one of these motherfuckers that runs one of these companies, and you tell them a story about your cousin or whatever, and you're like, my cousin, he lost his job, woo woo, and then I had to live on the street because he just didn't have any money saved up. Well, that motherfucker should have had some money saved up, blah blah blah. I don't know anyone who doesn't have 6 months of whatever, blah blah blah, right?
Right.
Why are you telling me that your company can't last for 6 months before it goes under?
Exactly.
Why am I the only one that needs to go through the extra trouble to save up a ridiculous for me amount of fucking money as a cushion, but it's okay for you to just hold your fucking hands out and shape them like a fucking cup
Right.
and beg for fucking money? Like, why is there this double standard?
Right.
And that's one of the biggest problems with these fucking companies.
Yeah.
Like like for example, the company I work for, they applied for a loan, but my company has they have less than 200 people that work for this company.
Okay.
And they don't have like, stuff on the stock market, it's just this guy who owns the company,
Right.
and they applied for it because, they wanted to make sure that they don't have to lay anybody off or whatever,
Right.
but, like this is not like like a high end restaurant that
Yeah, it
caters to
ain't a
people with
fucking
money.
Fortune 500, company that's on the stock market and traded in the NASDAQ or whatever the fuck.
There was another place too. I don't know if it was like another restaurant, like I don't know if it was Five Guys or some restaurant. No, it was Shake
Ah,
Shack. That's what it was. Shake
okay.
Shack did the same thing. They got $2 million.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are a nationwide. I don't know if they're nationwide. I think they're more than New York though.
Okay. I mean, they got
I
them
don't
up
know.
here.
But like, if you are, I have never been to fucking New York. I've heard of fucking Shake Shack,
Right.
and I don't give a fuck about Shake Shack. So if I have heard of you,
I've never eaten there.
how the fuck do you not have enough money to be able to survive for a little while? You know what I mean? Again,
Right.
why am I expected to go above and beyond, but you should be able to go and just fucking beg and get fucking pulled out of the water right away?
Wow.
If they let everybody fucking drown, cool.
Right.
If we save everybody, cool. I'm
Right.
not gonna say I have an opinion, but I'm not gonna say what we should do one way or the other. I'm just saying that we need to treat everybody the fucking same.
Right. Yeah, I'm with it.
Because corporations are people, my friend, as Mitt Romney famously fucking said. So if corporations are people, then sometimes them niggas need to drown.
Right. Yeah, you gotta let them drown.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Fucking change the subject. You hear about Floyd Mayweather?
Nuh-uh.
Oh shit! This idiot
Oh.
has decided to fight Logan Paul on February 20th.
Why?
Apparently, there's a big ass bag that comes with the fight. I don't know. That's the only reason I could see him wasting his time. Because
Yeah.
granted, Logan Paul's supposed to be 6'2", and he's like 5'9" or some shit like that. You know, so he's much smaller. Plus, he's like 140 pounds compared to Logan being 200 something.
Jesus, is he
So,
coming down in weight? I'm assuming.
well, he said, I saw this little clip of his that he's like, man, I hope they don't tell me that I need to drop a bunch of weight. You know, I'm 200 pounds
What the
and,
fuck do you
you know,
think,
this,
dude?
that, and the other thing.
I
And
thought he's supposed to be
it's like,
a
right?
professional boxer. You don't know how
Right?
this shit works? Fucking
Man.
dildo. I hate that fucking dude, man.
You called him a dildo.
I
That's
hate that
hilarious.
fucking guy. Him and his fucking douchebag brother. I hate both of
Yeah.
them motherfuckers.
I
Like,
hate that
they
guy.
are the poster child of why people hate fucking white boys.
Yep. Yep. So normally whenever Floyd fights, I want him to get his ass whooped because he beats women and shit like that. But I'm gonna kind of enjoy him whooping this white boy's ass, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I'm willing to watch the fight. I mean, I'm gonna bootleg the shit. You know, I ain't paying
Yeah.
for shit. But or I'll just wait till till after the fight and somebody posted on fucking YouTube,
Yeah.
illegally. And I'm still gonna watch it that way. But
I feel the
like,
same way. Like, I kind of feel like Mayweather's a piece of shit as a human being.
yeah,
But when the
totally.
person he's fighting is
Is
so much
more of a
more of a
piece of
piece of
shit.
shit that I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, Floyd, you gotta do this
Come
shit,
on,
son.
right. Come on, son. Do it for the culture. Do it for the culture. Something. God damn,
Oh, so
man.
is this his new post retirement career is beating up
That's what I'm thinking.
asshole white boys?
That's what I'm thinking. Like that's his whole new thing is like I feel like it's gonna come down to him fighting some no-name dude one day
Yeah.
who won a fucking contest, because Floyd Mayweather will fight anybody for $100 million. Like, and part of me can't even blame him. If like you gonna get $100 million to go up against somebody who has not boxed all of their life like you,
Uh-huh.
who is, who's Logan fucking Paul. We could skip all the
Yeah.
other shit. Who's fucking Logan Paul? Like it's kind of like it's like people just giving him money.
I
You know what
mean,
I'm saying?
that's true.
So part of me doesn't even blame him for going and getting all of that money because he's probably gonna make more than $30 million.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, how do you leave that on the table when you know you could beat this dude's ass? Like,
Even if he I mean, he's probably gonna win, but even if he loses, I'm pretty sure he's gonna get a shitload of money.
right,
Because
exactly,
otherwise it wouldn't be worth it.
right. And then if he loses, then he gets more money in the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still one of those win or lose. He can't lose
Yeah.
in like this situation. He can't lose. He's just doing nothing but making fucking money. And it's like I said, going back to the chick that I work with, she was whenever I had told her about the news, she was like, "Why the fuck would Floyd waste his fucking time?"
Yeah.
And like she seemed like that was like an honest question. And to me, the immediate answer was money. Like the dude's nickname is literally Floyd Money Mayweather. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like
You know what
he'll
though?
do anything for money. That's part of what makes him a piece of shit.
I mean, that kind of makes him a prostitute, I guess.
Yeah. Definitely hooker status.
Yeah. So, and I'm not.
Escort.
Yeah.
It's an escort. He's a high-end hooker.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is true. I'm not going to speak for her, but it doesn't surprise me because if you talk to most athletes, they give you this bullshit story about the love of the game and all this other kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, you are not playing You have not played. You did not spend all of your years in college pretending to fucking study and cheating the academic system and spending, 26 hours a day fucking training and practicing because you love this game so much. If you were
Right.
not going to get a big fucking payout and be possibly rich and famous, you wouldn't be doing this shit.
Exactly.
That is the only reason you're going through all of this fucking trouble.
That's true.
So, like maybe what you should say is that people shouldn't talk shit about you for your motivations. But don't give me this fucking bullshit about how much you love the game and the purity of the game. Like, fuck you.
Right.
Like, no fucking way. You show me a mother, okay, you love the game, then I want you to go tear up your fucking contract and I want you to come into this motherfucker next season for free.
Right.
You do that shit and I'll fucking believe you. And
Right.
there are some people that do shit like that. Like when you see
Yeah.
these old motherfuckers out in the park on Sunday and they little stupid old timers baseball league and all that other kind of bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent, they're doing that shit because they love the game. But really, they're doing it because they want whatever stupid fucking trophy it is that they
Right.
and bragging rights and shit.
Yeah.
That's why I don't got a lot of. I don't know. I don't fuck with sports people because I feel like sports people they have a lot of bullshit, and I don't like bullshit.
I feel like competitiveness is bullshit.
Yeah, because I have met very few people who are honest about the reason that they like sports. Because most people don't like sports because they like the sport. Like there's
Right.
nothing intellectually interesting to you about basketball. That's just like, oh wow, I think about basketball and the angles and like no, you don't think about that shit. That's just
Right.
the outlet that you use to get
Mhm.
competitive fucking urges out in the fucking world. Whether you
Right.
play it or you live vicariously through other people,
Right.
that's all it is. You want to be a fucking winner and you want somebody else to fucking lose because you
Right.
don't feel like a winner unless you can look down and see your boot on somebody else's fucking neck.
Right. Yeah. It's all about bigging yourself up
Yeah. And you just don't want
somehow.
to fucking admit it.
Yep.
I'd have more respect for
I
you if you
agree.
would admit that you have these, everybody has those kind of urges and shit. This is a
Right.
primitive thing. They like want to beat somebody and win or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But don't pretend you make up this whole fucking story about it's the sweet side. Like it's beating the fuck out of somebody.
Right.
Just put gloves on so you don't murder them because
Right.
we don't allow you to just murder people even if it's for a fucking sport.
Right. Yeah. There's like I've said before on the podcast, there's a lot of technicality to it, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
guy's getting paid to punch another guy in the face repeatedly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Whoever
not trying
does
to
it
say
better.
that it's easy.
Right.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying is there's a
You're
lot of
not
bullshit
diminishing
that
it.
they tell themselves the reasons why they do.
Right.
Think about this. You actually run the boxing commission because you love boxing as like a science sport kind of a thing. You have
Yeah, I don't
respect
see
for
that.
it.
Right.
So you're in charge of this and you're like, "Oh, I just love boxing. This is so great." And you see this young guy named Mike Tyson who says that he's going to fuck some guy until he loves them. He's going to eat his fucking children.
Right.
Why did they not immediately call and kick this guy out of the fucking league or whatever you want to call it?
Money.
Because that's not fucking appropriate. This is supposed to be sportsmanship and all this other stuff, and he's
Right.
gonna eat your fucking children. That's
Right.
literally a crazy thing to say.
You're gonna eat my kids and fuck me till I love you?
That's gonna be depends on what you do first. Because those
Right.
are kind of like I'm gonna be upset if you eat my
Right.
kids.
If you eat my kids, I'll be sad and mad.
That's gonna be some good
And
fucking. If
then
you
you're
do
gonna
it.
rape me until I, get Stockholm syndrome. Jesus Christ. That's some sadistic shit.
It is. So if all that shit was true about we love the the sanctity of the sport and all
Yeah.
this other bullshit, these
They would have
motherfuckers would get
kicked
kicked
Mike out
out.
a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought about that angle of it, but that's true. It really is.
Like the way you could think about it is think about like a kid's little league thing.
Mhm.
they wouldn't let the kids talk to each other like that.
Right.
Because they're like, yo, we're trying to create an environment where you have fun, where you play, we're trying to just enjoy playing baseball, whatever.
Right.
You don't let kids do crazy shit like that. But in professional sports, for the most part, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Right. Yeah, because they wouldn't have let Michael Jordan get away with that.
No.
He couldn't have went out there and said, "Fuck you, nigga, I'll eat your kids."
Yeah.
Like he couldn't have done shit. He had to. Not only did they have rules about him having to wear suits and all of that shit, there's no way that any basketball player would have got away with talking
Yeah.
shit like that.
And that's not to say that they actually believe that shit, but at least they're willing to publicly pretend.
Then to shame it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is the least that you
I
should
never
do.
thought about that before. That's true. It's very true. But yeah, he agreed to fight this jackass.
It's surprising to me, but it's not.
Right.
Like, I thought his ego, that's the thing. I couldn't decide whether his ego or his love of money was bigger. But now I see that his love of money is bigger.
Yeah, I would also question whether he's running out of money.
Probably, I would say that's probably true.
Because, with him having, he's still in the phase of his life to where he thinks having 7 Rolls Royces makes sense. And Bugattis or Dugatis, whatever whichever one's not the motorcycle.
I think it's Bugatti. I think the Ducati is a motorcycle, or Ducati.
Ducati's the motorcycle. Bugatti is the car, yeah.
Okay, so, him having, 3 Bugattis and, 4 different Rolls Royces, and because there's so many super rich people that talk openly about how much of a waste of money it is, like that. I feel like either he's just still a dumb nigga
and he just doesn't get it to the core.
That's probably more likely.
And
think about this. If he had so much money, why isn't this motherfucker on a boat?
Right.
Like, when he died.
Because he's black and he can't swim.
It hurts because it's probably true. But think about it. When Steve Jobs, he died, and they were in the process of building a $600 million yacht that looked like a fucking spaceship.
Looked like an Apple store, right?
It looked like an Apple store. It looked like some shit you'd see in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Like, it was fucking ridiculous. So you got so much fucking money. Where's your fucking yacht?
Right.
You got Rolls Royce. See, the thing is that, like, it's weird. And that's why you could tell he's just really fucking ghetto, because of the lack of imagination.
Yeah.
Because, like, what he thinks is that he has money like he's from Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Like, those dudes literally have billions of dollars, and there's like hundreds of them, all these princes and shit. And what do these guys do? They buy a boat and they literally go live off the coast of fucking France or whatever in a fucking boat, and like, they do ridiculous type shit like that. You don't got that much money, dude. You are literally wasting all that money. Yeah. However much you got.
Right.
They
say that Floyd has made over $1 billion in his career fighting.
I would be surprised if he has $100 million left.
You think? I think he got a couple hundred off of that Mayweather fight. I think he got like $300 million off that fight.
So think about this. You have $1 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
You take a bunch of it and you invest it. And then, well, no, not even. Think of it this way. Like, okay, this scale. So one of the problems I have with people being rich is that those numbers are so big that it's hard for people to think about it logically. Because what is $1 billion? I don't know what $1 billion is.
Right.
What's the difference between a billion and a million? If you saw a billion flies and a million flies, would you be able to tell the difference?
I think so, but yeah.
But yeah, but like
It'd be really difficult though.
but if it was a life or death situation and they
Okay.
point up at the sky and you see a shitload of flies
Right.
and they ask you, is that a million or a billion?
Right.
I mean, it could always be bigger. Maybe that's only a million.
Right. Maybe it's a trillion, but you wouldn't fucking know.
Yeah.
Because you can't even fathom that, really.
Yeah, but you're like, you know what? That's like 100. This is like 100 flies over there.
Right.
Like you could tell that. That's a number that your brain
Right.
understands.
Can wrap itself around. Right.
Right. So if you have $100 and you're walking to the store, like, are you going to stop and pick up a fucking penny?
No.
You know, because you got $100 bill in your pocket. Most
wouldn't pick
regular
up a
people
quarter.
are not going to do
Right.
that. So if he has so much money, why is he going to fight this nobody? He's not going to get any ego boost from beating this dude.
He's not.
And what is he going to get? 30, 60 million? You supposedly are a billionaire or what,
Right.
or like that status.
Right.
What is this going to do? What are you going to buy? You want a steak dinner that you want for free?
Right. It's not like you're going to get any boxing props for it because this dude, though they're referring to him as a professional fighter, everybody knows he's not.
No, he's just
like, so it's not like you're going to get even the credit for beating Conor McGregor. At least Conor McGregor was a fighter.
Yes.
He wasn't a boxer.
But he was a fighter.
Was a fighter, and he dedicated his entire life to fucking fighting. Like, and so it's not like he's gonna get any cred for that.
No.
Like he's just gonna beat this kid's ass, and he's probably not even gonna beat his ass. He's probably gonna do what he always does and just technically win. He's gonna be really hard to hit, like he always is, because he's really good, or he has superb reflexes, or whatever the fuck it is, you know. And the kid's gonna go out there and burn his gas tank trying to knock him out.
Yeah, because he's got a lot to prove. So he's gonna be out there trying to knock his head off.
Exactly. Because all he was talking about in this other clip that I watched was, you know, all it takes is one punch. I could get lucky. And I mean, he even knows. He even all but says that like there's no chance he could beat this fucking guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, come on.
Yep.
But that's a good point. Like, he just loves money that much.
I don't think he does. I think you were right when you said he's running out. Or at least in his own mind, he's running out.
Yeah.
He might not be realistically. Yeah. We don't know what
he
running
might
out.
Still be sitting on 50 million, but sitting on only 50 million might not be enough for him to feel comfortable. Because I know
I could buy half an ounce of weed, and as soon as I buy it, I'm like, oh, cool, I got half ounce of weed. Now I feel straight, you know, like I'm good for like 2 weeks. Like, but when it gets down to the bottom, anxiety starts building up, you know what I mean? And it's like, man, I only got like 3 days left. I hope the weed man got some more weed, you know, because he could be in a drought. I don't know about, you know what I mean? And then if I run out, you know, then I'm fucked. Yeah. You know, because I gotta wait for the weed man. And his fucking schedule. So I gotta hope that everything pans out. But I could see the same thing with like money, him only being comfortable whenever his illiterate ass can look at his bank account and see so many commas. Let me 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4 commas. Okay. There's 4 commas still. You know, type of thing. Like, fucking idiot.
Oh man. It's, you know, on the one hand, I feel kind of bad for that dude. But on the other hand, I'm like, this dude's got way more money than me. Like, he doesn't have to be illiterate. This motherfucker could literally go to school and become a doctor now. If
Right.
he was let people stop trying to punch him in the fucking face.
Right. Which he's really good at avoiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he could literally, he could learn to read
Yeah, but again, like we were talking
and do his
earlier,
own taxes.
like when you have all these options, it's hard for me. There's a part of me that's always going to feel for you as a human being.
Right.
And I want to make sure that I don't ever lose that empathy
Right.
for other people.
I feel it.
But at the same time, I'm only going to allow that to go so far. Because like
Right.
you literally could hire a full-time fucking psychologist to follow you around. You could pay a fucking film crew to follow you around with a fucking shrink and turn it into a fucking TV show.
Yep, and get paid for it.
Yeah, if you wanted to. And you could get paid for going through therapy or whatever.
Right.
But like, like or even just not even that, but you could pay someone to live with you to be a fucking shrink.
Right.
If you wanted to. You got so much money supposedly.
Right.
So you have all these resources, you choose not to use them. Like how much of this is self-inflicted wound?
Right.
Yeah, but he'd rather live with 3 chicks who were okay with all being his girlfriend and afford their ridiculous lifestyle, because that makes some sort of fucking sense.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was just talking about, like, I wonder how different, like, my sex drive would be if I had more money. Would I still be this little 18-year-old kid that just wants to fuck all the time? And I'm 37, you know what I mean? But I got $10 million in the bank. You know what I mean?
I think it depends on how long you've had the money. Like if you won the lottery, there would be a
Probably
phase where you were like that again.
Okay.
But after you got used to it, then it would get bored for the same whatever reason.
That's what I would think. I just don't see me doing no shit like that. I was about to say paying 3 women. Having 3 girlfriends.
Isn't that kind of what you're doing anyway, though?
Yeah. That's basically what I was probably like subliminally thinking that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like having 3 fucking girlfriends for what? You can't fuck all 3 of them at the same time. Best you could do is eat a puss while you balls deep. That's the best you could do. And that's 2. You can't eat 2 pussies at the same fucking time. It's not happening. You could finger. Maybe you got a finger in one, a mouth on another, and a dick stuck in one. That's the best you could do, though. But what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
At like what point does it become lame to him?
This doesn't, because it feeds his ego, because he's the man.
Ah. Okay.
And you know what?
Well,
like
I guess.
I don't want to say that it's impossible for someone to have, because people have all kinds of weird relationships,
Right.
whatever works for you works for you. However,
I'm all for it.
He does not strike me as the type of man who's mature enough emotionally to have a healthy relationship with 3 women simultaneously.
I agree. Yeah.
Because everything I've read from people who are sincere about that type of thing have talked about how, like, it is so difficult that it has to be a lifestyle choice.
Okay, I can see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like just, oh yeah, I do this. Like, no, like it is so difficult that you have to really want to do it.
Right.
The same way these sports people, like, they get up at 4 a.m. and they fucking work out, all that kind of crazy bullshit, in my opinion.
2 and 3 times a day for hours and hours. Turns out that they work out 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Type shit.
You are about that life, and you need to be about there's a lot of work that goes into having multiple girlfriends or whatever you want to call it.
Good Lord. One is enough, man. Jesus Christ, one is enough.
It's hard,
What the
man.
fuck?
Relationships are hard. At least if
Yeah,
you
they
care.
are. Yeah. I guess that's the key, though, right?
Yeah.
If you care or not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I figured for sure you had heard about that.
No,
That's
I've been
interesting.
last couple of days at least. I've been playing that game.
It's Cyberpunk.
I've specifically decided to just play this game for a while so I could ignore some of the news and shit.
Yeah, and kind of unplug a little bit.
Yeah, because it's just
Yeah.
I'm trying for the most part not be completely out of touch, but I want to let the rest of the year sort of play out
Okay.
in the background and then try to.
Right. Try to just get back to some sort of enjoyment.
After the inauguration, yeah, I'll be like, okay, let me breathe and start paying attention a little bit to this shit.
Right. Yeah. I feel you. I ain't mad at you, man. It's fucking tough
Yeah,
dealing with this shit every day and seeing it. And we have so much information being flooded in at all times that, I
yeah,
mean, because it's literally round the clock. Literally.
it is.
Like,
Yeah, like you can wake up at 4 a.m. and see some
Yep.
crazy shit. On,
Yep. I can guarantee you that even in this short time we've been talking, somebody has uploaded at least 3 more videos of motherfuckers getting knocked out on
Oh, yeah.
World Star.
Uh-huh.
I guarantee there's at least one. There's a twerking video that has been uploaded, guaranteed.
Uh-huh.
There's a nigga getting knocked out video, and there's somebody stealing some shit video.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. Guarantee you.
It's crazy because it reminds me of that movie Idiocracy.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that movie before,
Yeah,
right?
I saw it once based on your like recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually did watch it. It was a long time ago,
Yeah.
but I remember some of it.
It just reminds me of how like they have like a stupid ass channel for everything.
Right.
And so it's like, you're watching the Knocking Niggas Out channel.
Right.
Niggas knocked out all night.
All night long. It's just Jesus.
And it's just clip after clip of dudes just getting cold cocked to the face. Boom, hit the ground.
Man, it happens so fucking much. And that's the thing about watching news from so many different places. You start to feel like this shit happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't.
No, that's true.
Motherfuckers getting knocked out in the street is kind of rare.
Yeah.
But if you watch from across America, excuse me, it makes it seem it like makes it seem like it happens all the fucking time.
No, it's true because you got 300 million people in this country.
Right.
So, you know, there's at least probably 3 dudes getting knocked out every night somewhere in this country.
Right.
So you just show those, you know, you put them all together in a line.
Right.
Upload one every 2 hours or whatever it is. And then you feel like, man, I ain't going out to the club. I be knocking niggas out every day.
Knocking niggas out, man. You better be careful. They knocking niggas out outside. Yeah, all right.
And then so you get this dumbass dude who goes to the club, right? And some random dude just innocently bumps into him and he says, "Oh, excuse me." But this dude's like, "Oh shit, this nigga's finna knock me out. I gotta knock him out first."
Right. And he swings on him. Fuck you, nigga.
And so then it's a fucking self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Niggas getting knocked out all over the fucking country.
Yep. And then he's proved to himself.
Yep. I told you. See?
Told you I should have stayed in the motherfucking house. I ain't even want to have to knock his ass out like that. But I saw the look in his eye. He was going to knock me out if it was me or him, man. It was me or him.
Oh, man. You know, I hate when I'm watching like an interview with some rap ass dudes and some shit. And I see that stupid nigga calculus going on in their head.
Okay.
I'm just like, oh, well, I mean, I'm saying, I mean, I know he was gonna do it, and I had to do it because like whatever, like I didn't have a choice. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Like,
He's painting a horrible fucking picture.
yeah.
Woe is him.
Uh-huh. I didn't want to knock him out. I didn't have a choice. Like, okay.
I don't know, man. These motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So much.
So much bullshit.
But I could see you pulling the plug on it for a little while and just kind of.
I think
Yeah.
that's partially why I've started trying to play video games again, because I've started playing pool a little more during the week. It's just now Abrielle knows, she calls it pool ball. And she knows the sounds that it makes.
Oh,
So
really?
when I'm down here, she'll be like, "Oh, is Daddy playing pool ball?" And then she'll want to come play, and she'll take 3 shots, and then she's done. You know,
Yeah.
she wants to do something else, but like, and then she gets all sad if she misses a shot.
Oh, yeah. Like, oh.
Yeah, like, but you know, so it's a little more difficult, but she'll get older, and
Yeah. That'd be cool to teach her.
yeah, definitely.
There's a lady I know I went to high school with. I didn't know her that well, but she was pretty cool.
Mhm.
And apparently she plays pool like all the time now. She's like a
Is she Filipino?
no, she's white, but she's like a fucking G. Like she's about playing pool. Like she loves it. I was like, oh,
It's
that's kind
something
of
to get
cool.
into, man.
It's definitely a art
Yeah.
and a skill.
Oh, definitely. Like I know a little bit about geometry and shit, and you know, I'm not a complete doofus when it comes to like sports and physical activity, but I'm not
Right.
good at pool really at all. Like
Okay.
it takes effort, you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it does.
practice and shit,
And
expertise.
I I say that I've been playing because right after or about high school, because I bought my stick, which I named Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
I bought Vicky when I was 17,
Okay.
and I still have that same cue
Oh
with the
wow.
same tip and everything.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I really take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had it for half of my fucking life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At
Wow.
this point. So I've been playing since I was 17 pretty seriously when I realized that I wasn't going to college because of my basketball skills.
Mm-hmm.
So like I gave up basketball, so to speak, and I say that I started playing pool.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, I love it. I don't know. Geometry was the only math class that I liked and I did good in.
Mm-hmm.
I know most people who like math dislike geometry for whatever reason. It's
Yeah.
like geometry isn't a real math or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
It's not hardcore enough.
right.
Hasn't made enough people cry.
Right. It's no calculus for sure.
Yeah.
But I
It's no
love it,
calculus,
man.
I'll tell you that.
Right.
It's no trigonometry.
Right.
Man, I never even got the trig.
Oh, no.
Fucking high school. No. I don't
Yeah.
I honestly don't even know what trigonometry is other than a math class that I didn't get to. Because I took algebra trig,
Mm-hmm.
but we never got past the algebra part. No fucking way we got to the second half of that book.
So that was an aspirational title. Shoot for the stars.
Shoot for the stars.
You little nigglets might make it one day.
Shoot for trigonometry. And at the very least, you'll get a little bit of algebra.
Right. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's probably been about one, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to see how long it's been. I don't see on here how long it's been, but it's probably long enough.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we went over too.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's cool. I've enjoyed talking to you, man.
Yeah, man, I've enjoyed it too. It's been Plus, we've been pushing our conversations off, I think, partially because we
Yeah.
have to do this too. We save some of the convo.
Yes.
Because I
that's
know
true.
there's, like, I would have definitely called you about that Martinkus shit during
Oh
the
yeah.
week. Fucking told you about that bitch. Because it was funny as hell to me because it literally
Yeah.
didn't bother me. Like, and I thought it was fucking hilarious that she was getting so fucking mad.
I mean, that's where the whole Karen thing comes from.
I never even thought to call her a Karen.
Yep.
That's funny. Yeah, she totally spazzed out in a Karen way.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, it was good. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Always a pleasure.
Mm.
Thank you all for watching with us, listening
Yes.
to us. Don't forget, we do sell merch, y'all. Feel free to
Merch.
cop some.
Yes. Hey, if you go have the gumption, you go through the trouble of watching our show. Tell us if you want a custom shirt or some shit. Like, let
Yeah.
us know. We could probably do it.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll
do it for
figure it
you.
out.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I gotta make this Just God shirt again.
Oh yeah.
I've gotten I want to say like 2 requests for that from Lydia's people.
No.
So
okay.
I need to jump back on the program and make another one for the new website because I didn't put it on the new one.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, that'll be the first one you make with your new computer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see how much better it is, hopefully.
Yeah. Should be because there were several times it was so slow, man. This computer's so fucking fast.
Yeah.
I don't even fucking use it half the time. No, I feel like the same. I feel like a piece of shit, like with my pool table, because
Oh.
I actually have a pool table,
Uh-huh.
but I rarely use it. So I've been trying to put it back and get some miles put on it.
That's cool. Think about it like a hammer. You don't get mad like, damn, I ain't used this hammer in a long time. I need to hit some.
I need to beat the shit out of some nails this week. Something. Nail some shit. Make me feel like a man.
Yep. All right, man. Well, you have a good one. You
Take
have a good week.
You have a good week too, brother.
You too,
Thanks
man.
for listening, y'all.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Later.